Daenerys of the House Targaryen, the first of her name, the Unburnt, Queen of the Andals, the Rhoynar, and the First Men, Queen of Meereen, Khaleesi of the Great Grass Sea, Protector of the Realm, Lady Regent of the Seven Kingdoms, Breaker of Chains, and Mother of Dragons, is gone. She has left Meereen, abandoning it, leaving behind a small, though powerful force of Dothraki to hold it in her absence. The sons of the Harpy will not stand for this filth, for these servants of the usurper to hold the city. And as such, it falls upon you, servants, sons, to reclaim the city. The sun beats down heavily, coating the pyramid in hues of radiant light, glancing off the multicolored bricks that make up the walls of this grand city. The smell of spice hangs heavy in the air as you walk through the bazaar. All around you, shave pates, freedmen, once slaves, merchant princes, everybody walks the streets. There is a tension here. For just a week ago, the queen, the usurper, the blasphemer, managed to defeat an entire fleet of Yunkai ships with just 3 dragons. You still see the mass rising from the bay like tombstones in a graveyard. You still see the burnt bodies that wash up on the shore each day. And your forces knew defeat. But you have been called, summoned by Tarkaz al-Pal, a leader among the Harpies, summoned to strike back. As you enter into the pyramid of the Great House Pal, as you are escorted down into the depths of this huge monolith, this grand piece of architecture, you see other Harpies walking with you, gathering, coming together as one. For the first time, you have been summoned. Tarkaz has a mission for you. You are quickly escorted down and into the lush interior of a lounging room, one of Tarkaz's lounging rooms. You see here, even though it's illegal, still slaves serve him. Men and women shackled and bound, tongues removed for insolence and hope. You are escorted to the back where he sits among many plush silk cushions and eats figs from a bowl, a delicacy now. And he looks up at you, his eyes falling first upon Viral. What are you doing? What are you thinking, Viral?
Viral has been working in the shadows, in plain sight. Really, he's a silk merchant, and he's been sort of selling secrets and working with the Sons of the Harpy in since their creation, basically, since the usurper came. And this meeting here, this invitation, is a big culmination of everybody's work so far. It's something different that's never been happened before. This meeting sort of openly to figure out some open action, some broad strokes, and that's what's needed in his mind. With Daenerys gone, this is the time to strike. Yeah, and as he looks around, he just takes in the finery and revels in the fact that there's still slaves held here by Tarkaz openly, even if behind closed doors. And he's eager to see what their mission is and how he can play a part.
Harkaz is a huge man, very obviously living in decadence. Heavy set, huge. The Jakari hairstyle, very prevalent. Kind of these braided, long tresses of hair, kind of going down his back. This thick beard on his chin. He smiles as you three approach, escorted by his guards, and his eyes seem to study each of you with an intensity, a scrutiny like that of a viper. Ha ha, my friends! Welcome, welcome. Please, please, sit. And he kind of waves, and behind you, you see that more like cushions and plush, like velvety blankets are brought behind you and just piled there, as he kind of waves for you to sit.
Where I would return the greeting, very friendly, and take a seat.
And his eyes would kind of scan you as you sit, and his eyes would fall on Barsazar. Ha ha ha, Barsazar! I knew you would come. I knew it.
You are a very lucrative man to know, so of course I am here. It is good to see that somebody still practices the old ways. And he kind of shakes the man's hand.
Yeah, his big, meaty, warm, sweaty hand would just close around yours. It's huge. Just fits yours inside of his like a child's in an adult's hand. And he just smiles. He says, "Please, please eat of the wine. Drink, drink. I insist. There are more of us that practice these ways than you think, my friend, but we do so in secret, or the Dothraki will kill us all."
Yes, it is unfortunately true. But it is great that you offer such a generous meal and drink, no less. It's a good way to start doing business, I hope.
Of course. It is a fine Dornish red. I had it imported just the other week in celebration of the Khaleesi's disappearance. He spits to the side. Usurpers flight quickly. I am very pleased with this, but still, there is much to do, much to do. Please, please sit. And Jeshua, please, my friend, sit down, sit down.
Yeshua would do so very, quickly and efficiently, if anything, sitting close to Barazar.
I have heard a rumor, my friend Barzazar, that you have it? I have heard that you carry a piece of our usurper queen.
Yes, it is true. Unfortunately, I was forbidden from taking her life, but I got close enough that I could have done so. And he kind of pulls this small braided strand of hair, about 4 or 5 inches long, and it's stark white. And he kind of lays it on the table in front of him, as he then kind of reaches over and picks up this hookah wand that's just been offered to him and takes a long, slow drag off of it.
To think that they would not approve of such a thing. The old, forgive me for saying, but the previous Harpy was a coward. I am not so afraid. And he would reach forward and look at you like, may I?
He gestures as if to say, of course.
And he would pick up this lock of hair and look at it and just smile. It is good that she is gone, but too bad that she is not gone for good, no? Well, I see that your skills shall be useful. And he sets them down, sets this braid down on the table, gives it one last look, shakes his head in sadness that you were not given the okay, and slides it across to you. This would all have been so much easier if she had just died.
Agreed. Maybe we'll get our chance someday.
Hopefully, my friend, hopefully. But if the Westerosi were to deal with her, I would not complain.
Their problems, their shores.
But soon to be our burdens if they fail. Well, we shall take back Meereen before then, of course. But to business, to business. And he kind of starts slapping the table excitedly. You have seen the Dothraki, no? They fill our streets. There's stink everywhere. They are eating our food, drinking our wine, and keeping the slaves free. I will not stand for this. I will not. There is one among them, a Kal. He seems to be as in charge as could be, having been assigned by the Khaleesi herself to keep the city in her absence. His name is Ishak. And you, my friends, have the opportunity to make history and to kill him. Pretty lucrative offer, no? Of course, there is plenty to go, more than just names in the history books, of course. I would see that each of you were to receive, upon his death, a sum of 1,000 golden dragons. You would each be given private quarters within my own pyramid. And, of course, your own retinue of slaves. 100 each of your choice from my personal collection.
Baral leans forward and licks his lips at the rewards on offer here, especially such a retinue. He's sort of climbed his way into some finery and perhaps a couple of slaves of his own in previous times, but that would be amazing. And he plucks a fig from the table and presses it to his lips and bites into it with a smirk. We can do this. This can be arranged. And he looks over to Balthazar, knowing that he has the skills to help pull this off. And your hand will not be stayed this time, no?
Balthazar kind of is nodding in agreement with Varal. And then his eyebrow just kind of raises at this question that the merchant has posed, and he kind of turns his gaze towards the large man. Well, I will not stay my hand. Is this correct?
No, this one must die. And die in a very specific way.
Oh.
An example, if you will, to the rest of the curs who believe that they now possess the right to be in our city.
We can string him atop the Great Pyramid. That will send a message.
Perhaps we can put him in place from where they toppled our great monument.
This is what I'm thinking.
My thoughts, exactly. Have you heard of the Reavers, those who live in Westeros on Pike? They have a torture, a thing that they do to men and women who they capture, who have the insolence to threaten them, to suggest that they are weak. It is a torture, a killing called the Blood Angel. Are any of you familiar with such a thing? I believe it would be quite a message should the Khal find that he had bloody wings upon his back.
It is something I have heard tale of before, yes, but it is not something I have ever done. I think it is something, however, that I could manage if that is what you wish.
That is what we wish. The other Harpies agree he must die in this way. As his last breath leaves, his bloody wings flapping upon his back, he shall be reminded of our saint, of the Harpy itself and her wings. And the rest of Meereen shall know that they are not free. Cut his throat after, and place upon him a mask of blood, a Harpy's mask. Can you do this thing?
For the agreed upon sum of what you have offered, and the honor of restoring the great Meereen to its former glory, and getting revenge for our Harpy, my answer is only but of course.
His eyes would fall upon Jeshua next.
I have killed 2 Dothraki before. 1 more should be no different.
I like your spirit. And his eyes would fall upon Varel.
Varel looks back over at Tarkaz, the huge man, after giving Yeshua a bit of a look of admiration for the knowledge that he's killed 2 Dothraki. And looks to Tarkaz and nods his agreement. It shall be done. For the glory of Meereen.
Very good. Very, very good. After you have killed him, bring me his braids. It is the ultimate dishonor among the Dothraki. And they will know that we mean business. Well, my friends, I am very, very happy that you have agreed to this. It will be a fine, fine day. We have watched him carefully. We know his routine. It is your choice where you will strike. Though, you will need time, of course, to perform the ritual to turn him into a bloody angel. Let us begin our planning. So we're going to take like a moment here. This is just going to be, you guys get a chance to ask me whatever questions you want about what his routine is like, and I will just answer them as best I can.
How many does he keep with him usually?
So generally, he's a proud man, Kalishak. He generally has about an honor guard, like a Dothraki guard of about 7.
Cool. And his movements. Try to pinpoint possible times and places to strike.
So you know that he has taken the main room in the Great Pyramid, a Great Blasphemy, as his own bedroom. So he sleeps there, usually rises at about 9 or 10 in the morning. After that, it's just meals and like business or whatever, until about 12 noon, where he goes and travels to the spice market, always to the spice market, to the fighting pits. He's there for about maybe like 4 or 5 hours before going about business for the army, for the other Dothraki, doing a couple visits to camps, and returning for judgment and stuff at the pyramid before retiring to his room at about like 8 or 9.
How long is his braid?
His braid is, so you've heard of a great warrior named Khal Drogo who never had his hair cut. His braid reaching all the way down to his waist. This man, Khal Ishak, has his reaches about like his stomach. He's only ever lost like 1 fight. He's a great warrior.
Okay. And do we know what it is that he does at the fighting pits?
Mostly watches, occasionally participates. Fights to the death always. And yeah, that's mostly. He usually just watches though.
Does he watch as part of the crowd?
Yeah, he sits in the Queen's Pavilion, never in the Queen's throne though.
How far away is the crowd able to get, or how close, rather, is the crowd able to get to the Queen's Pavilion?
So his guards generally keep like a space of about 15 feet around him clear. But the crowd generally, they're Dothraki anyways, keep a pretty good distance from them.
Oh, okay. So yeah, mainly Dothraki in the crowd as well.
There's a lot of Dothraki in the crowd. This is one of the things that they enjoy doing most.
Yeah.
What else can we learn about the fighting pits themselves? I was a gladiator, so
Yeah. Okay. So there are three gladiatorial pits. There's Daznak's pit, the pit of Graz, and the Golden Pit. Daznak's pit is the largest. That's the one you see in the TV series. And that's the one that he attends most often. So it's like a large, like Colosseum-ish type thing. Sand on the floor, walls separating the sand from the crowd, all sorts of events. Think like a Roman Colosseum.
And what is the garrison that's kind of left behind at the pyramid whenever he's gone? What's it like?
So a bunch of like it's like a personal retinue of about like 50 men. Though they aren't particularly like skilled ones, all the skilled ones are in his honor guard. Though they are respected Dothraki warriors still. Maybe about 10 of them are like green, like young men, like boys, who are earning their braid still. And the other 40 would be experienced-ish.
And is it only Dothraki who are allowed on the grounds of the pyramid?
No, petitioners are allowed too.
Petitioners. Okay.
He has a small council who helps him make decisions in the Queen's absence.
But no Meereenese?
There are a couple as well who serve among the guard, mostly remnants of the Brazen Beasts. I don't know if you've read the books, but the Brazen Beasts are like the city guard, essentially.
Okay.
And they also wear masks. The Brazen Beasts do.
Perfect. That's
awesome.
That's Barsazar's plan right there.
Are there any Unsullied in the city still?
All the Unsullied went with the Queen.
Cool. Okay.
So, yeah, Barsazar is planning on, if it sounds okay to the rest of you, for us to don the masks of these. What are they? Bronze.
Brazen Beasts. Each of them has like a different animal, like a bronze mask of an animal.
Okay.
They're distinguished in that way, though. So you probably want to get some information about these people before you take their masks, so you can answer questions.
Okay, I see. It's specific to the individual.
Exactly. Each individual has a specific mask.
Okay.
Okay.
So
yeah. I would think we can maybe. So Varel would propose going down to maybe check out Carl Ishak at the fighting pits and maybe he can try and pull some strings to orchestrate to make sure that Carl Ishak is actually participating in a fight, so we can sort of see what we're up against in case subterfuge doesn't give us the day. And then maybe we're thinking in the pyramid in the evening or when he retires at night to actually arrange our strike.
Yeah, I was thinking that we sneak in disguised and then find a place to hide in the pyramid until quiet time at night.
Yeah, that sounds good. So I think there's still plenty of time to check him out from the crowd during the day. And then maybe the rest of the afternoon, secure our masks. We'll have to each find a target, I suppose, and extract some information from the wearers of the Brazen Beast masks. Yeah.
And unless Tarkaz thinks that there might be 3 who would be willing to go along. Are they loyal to the Westerosi, or?
They are loyal to a man named, let me pull up his name, Skahaz Mokanduk. And Skahaz is, he founded the Brazen Beasts for the Queen. I'll put his name in here. And he demands complete loyalty, and he is completely loyal to the Queen as well. One of her most avid supporters among the Meereenese, actually. He is the first, they call him the Shave Pate. He's the first person to remove his Jakari braids and hair and shave his head bald, which is very, like, blasphemous and sacrilegious to the Meereenese, because these hairstyles are like everything to them. So the fact that he was the first to forsake tradition, he's named the Shave Pate, and he is completely loyal to the Queen. And the Brazen Beasts are in turn loyal to him.
Okay, so yeah, definitely not going to be able to.
Wanted to extract by force, yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to borrow these things. So yeah, I think you're right. I think paying attention to him during the day, just to kind of, if we could get him in a fight in the pit, then that's even better. We can see what we're up against, like you said, and then try to track down 3 targets and take their stuff and ask them questions.
Yeah. And then infiltrate the pyramid. Wait in there until he either retires around 9 or so, or I think that would be probably better than while he's conducting business in the main hall or the main chamber. Yeah, gives us more time as well. Cool. So how frequently does Carly Shack? You said it's like occasionally he'll fight.
Yeah, occasionally.
Mostly he just watches. Yeah.
So here's what we're gonna do. It was your idea to check for them to be in the pit, right?
Yeah.
Roll me a luck die.
Cool. 8.
You got 8? It just so happens he has a fight today.
Excellent.
On this very day, he accepted a challenge. He's in a fight today.
Perfect. Okay, great.
Tarkaz kind of smiles and nods. Oh, this plan is very good. I know that I chose the best. Very well. If you need an entrance fee, I don't know if you have money or not, but I will pay for it. And he slides like a handful of silver coins, more than enough to pay for you guys to go to this event. Enough to like you only need maybe even like a quarter of what he gave you to get in for each of you. So you guys have some extra money as well that you can use for bribes or whatever you need. That he slides across the table to you guys. Go with my blessing.
Yeah, Barsazar will certainly take at least his portion of the silver coins and tuck them away into a purse that's kind of hidden in the folds of his clothing and armor. And he kind of looks to the others with an expression as if to say, well, it would seem that we are going to the fights today.
Joshua would be kind of like sliding his third of the pile like into his pocket. Shamelessly.
All right, so you guys are making your way. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, Vral would be maybe a little more subtle, but greedily scooping it up, and then rise to his feet and make their way out. Give the appropriate courtesies to Tarkaz. Make their way out. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. As you observe courtesy, he would smile, and he would call over from out of out of the silken drapes in the shadows, like a small gaggle of female slaves that he owns, and he would kind of just look at the 3 of you, and they're beautiful. They are from all places, Essos, Dothraki for the more exotic taste, like all sorts of just different beautiful people. And he kind of just looks at you Serve well, and remember what your reward shall be. And he looks back at them and smiles at you. Okay, as you guys step up out of the pyramid, making your way back to the surface, the sun is beating down upon your backs, upon your shoulders. The sweat immediately just overtakes you, dripping down your face, pooling beneath your arms. It is a very, very hot day out. You see that people are offering all sorts of just like cold drinks. They're trying to sell fresh fruit. The bazaar is lively today. So as you step out into the sun, it just starts to beat down upon your back, weighing upon you heavily like a fog.
Belshazzar produces a silk handkerchief that's folded into a square, and he kind of dabs at his forehead, kind of removing some of this sweat before folding it and putting it back. All I can smell is the shit of these horses that they ride everywhere. The whole city smells of it.
The horses smell better than they do.
Indeed.
The whole grass sea smells of it. I wouldn't recommend going there.
Now that I have experienced the smell firsthand, no, I don't intend to. So, Yeshua, which way to the fighting pits? The one that he was speaking of.
The Daznak pit is down this main causeway. This was the most.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
This was the most fun to fight in. More people to cry out your name.
As you travel, oh sorry, go ahead.
You had some great victories there, eh?
A few. The victories are actually the women that cry your name afterward.
Well, good to have a renowned warrior such as yourself on our side, huh? For this mission.
Well, dragons are dragons.
There are no dragons in Essos, my friend. They fled across the narrow sea.
And like pulling out a single golden dragon, not those dragons.
Haha. This language we both speak, huh?
This is my favorite language to speak.
It is the only language, my friends.
I believe this is a good start, yes?
Yes, I am looking very much forward to finishing this job and maybe taking the rest of the year off.
My friend, with the reward we're getting, you could take the rest of your life off. Well depends how quickly you spend it.
Indeed.
If Tarkaz is willing to give us a room, I think not working anymore sounds pretty good.
This is a change of fortune for us all, my friends.
The pits.
We can do this task.
The pits tell you one thing: it's to not count your victories before they are had. This may cause, for some challenge at least. Dothraki are not easy. They are savage, wild, like beasts.
You say you have fought one before and killed 2 of them. Yes.
2.
Yes, the pits bring a variety of fighters.
Are they brazen with their strikes?
Their swords are curved for mounted combat, but they are just as efficient on the ground. Like I said, beasts. But to beat a beast, you must be a hunter. And like holding up the scabbard of my sword, and I will hunt as the apex predator.
Yes. And for all the talk of combat and killing, you both know, even if just by sort of reputation, you know that Varal is more of a sort of schemer. You're not sure if he's even killed a man himself before, but he's on board with this, and he's putting on as good a facade as he can. That he's ready for what they're going to try and pull off.
I think with that, Jeshua would like tap him on the chest, like kind of hard to like just kind of mess with you. Like, do not worry, friend. I will make sure that the Dothraki doesn't scare you too much.
I'll leave the front line to you, huh?
That is fair.
As you're talking and walking, passing by myriad vendors and people, you would see a group of these brazen beasts walking past you. They're tall, imposing figures for the most part. You see them carrying in their hands spears and wearing these bronze masks of animals. You see one of them has like an eagle. Another one's kind of wearing like the mask of a dog. While one of them has kind of like a bear, which you think is interesting because there aren't any bears in Essos. But this group of like three of them will kind of go past you. They kind of like they're scanning the crowd, but I mean like they're not really like looking for anything. They're just kind of watching for trouble. So they kind of go past you. Their chest bared, wearing kind of just like a heavy leathers more than anything, and eyeing the crowd. Their eyes would fall on you briefly before they just continue walking.
We should wait for another opportunity.
This may be aesthetic, but I would prefer something more fitting for the theme. Does that make sense?
My friend, they will tell stories. They will sing songs of what we do here. Let's give them some good content, huh?
Exactly. We are, in a sense, entertainment.
Very
What
well.
did you have in mind?
Well, a bird of prey, maybe?
Such as the eagle that just walked by?
That is but one.
Ah, for us all, you mean? I see.
Unless you have different plans, I could also go for a viper for my time in the pits, eh?
The point of what I am used to is to not be seen at all, so it matters very little to me.
And to me.
Presentation is everything, man. You will see in time.
Yes, presentation is everything. To not be seen, not be identified. This is important. I think, who do we have here? And he looks back across the masks of the three brazen beasts that they just passed. Was it an eagle, a dog, and a bear?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, an eagle, a dog, and a bear were the ones you just barely passed.
And I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I think Viral would maybe sort of spin those three animals into try and convince Yeshua that he'll have his bird of prey, and these other two will also be fitting for the tales that will be told about them. And if not, we can see if we find more.
Would you mind like rolling against me to try and convince me?
Sure.
That seems reasonable, right?
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and do, I guess, persuasion versus what do you want to roll to be stubborn about?
Well, I rolled 24, so.
Well, I have.
Persuasion's one of my roguish specialties.
I'm gonna give it to you actually because I got nothing.
24 is pretty dang good.
He's not a good fighter, but he's a good.
I don't even have a bonus high enough to give me 24 in a charisma check. So I would kind of like scratch my chin for a moment. Yeah, you make a very valid point. But it's still early in the day. Should we kill them now and take the masks, or wait till later?
Yeah, so you said about not counting your victories before they happen. Let us deal with these three first, huh? Before we pick who will be the bear and who will be the dog.
We are picking up off each other already.
And
So,
then he looks to Balthazar, knowing that this is probably his specialty.
so then we want to go ahead and take them now. And then do we plan to hide the disguises until we are ready to use them later?
Perhaps they will still be here after the fighting is done.
Could I perhaps spend my inspiration point to know of like a stash spot inside the fighting pits?
Yeah. You know that every fighter who's ever participated in the pits has their own like locker in a way. Even the dead ones, they keep them as like a memory, like an honor to these people who have passed away in the pits, fighting honorably to the death. So nobody really, if it wasn't a very well-known fighter who died in the pit, you could probably stash there and no one would ever find it. People only go and look at like the lockers of like the great fighters, like the people who are like Strong Belwas, who has a reputation of being a warrior, like who's won multiple fights.
I know of a spot we can stash these while we check out Kalisha.
All right. Then I suppose it is time to go to work. Balthazar will he's kind of been leaning against a building as they were taking a small break to drink, some cool refreshments in the shade. And he'll set his glass down on the windowsill where he was next to where he was leaning and start making his way to follow these three, hoping that he's not alone. And he's going to look for them to hopefully at some point turn down an alleyway or enter a small shop, something like that.
So I'm guessing your goal is obviously to tail them and not be noticed. So go ahead and roll me like a stealth check to blend with the crowd. And while you tail them, the other two can tail you if they don't want to roll stealth. That would work fine.
I rolled a 21 on stealth, so
Okay, perfect.
I'm right there with him.
Yeah, not a great start.
Okay, 11. And what'd you get, Viral? Oh, dude. Okay.
5.
Aren't you supposed to be? Aren't you guys both rogues? What the heck is
Yeah,
going on?
I rolled low on that one.
Yeah, I rolled a 4, so
did I.
So you guys probably actually were giving me a little bit of shit about trying to tail these guys. Like, oh, who are you, the showman, to tail this guy, And I like perfectly stick to the shadow, and you guys are obviously just awestruck and stick out like sore thumbs.
we're close to the fighting pit, so like you blend right in because you are a fighter. The rest of us kind of stand out.
Yeah, sure. If that's what you want to tell yourself, whatever helps you sleep at night, man. As you're following them, you see them turn into an alley actually, and you're like, okay, this is my chance. This is our chance. And as you turn the corner, you come face to face with 3 spearheads.
Oh, friends, what is this?
Why do you follow the noble city guard, the brazen beasts, the protectors of Meereen?
I too am a protector of Meereen. I was hoping to one day at least become brave enough and notable enough to be accepted into your order. But you are very hard to track down and talk to. It's partially because I am just so intimidated.
Roll me persuasion or deception, your choice.
This will be deception. That's a 20 on the die, so a 24.
Well, you net 20?
Yep.
Oh, okay. How do you make this convincing?
I just laid it on thick.
So you lay it on super thick. I'm guessing you're probably like moving your hands, like groveling a bit, like.
Yeah, kind of reaching out and like just kind of touching the ends of their spears a little, kind of almost, admiring the craftsmanship. These are beautiful weapons. Surely they are deadly, in your hands. But may I? Could I be so bold as to ask to hold one?
With a nat 20, you can be so bold. They kind of like look at each other, like the three of them like eyeing each other, and then look back at you. I don't think it would hurt. It is nice to be appreciated. So many look at us as tyrants or some sort of controllers. We're just here to keep the peace. Please, I'm sorry. I thought that you were. The Harpies are still on the move. You know, they're still in the city.
There are still people who believe that we should adhere to the old ways. But progress. The world is about progress. We must change with it, like the seasons.
Skahaz thinks the same, though some of us don't think that anyone will come around. But please, here. And he kind of extends the long spear and like plants it in the ground so you can like hold it.
And he kind of picks it up, kind of almost feigning like it's a little heavier than he expected. This is unbelievable. This is made finer than anything I think I've ever seen before.
Could I try to attack one of the other guards now that he has one of their weapons?
Sure. I'm gonna roll perception. You roll me just an attack. So roll me your attack. I'm gonna roll perception. That's gonna be his AC. His perception will be his AC.
All right.
Okay, you got a 15.
I got a 13 on the die with a +5 attack bonus, so 18.
Okay, you are going to be able to hit him before he can react. He's not going to see it coming. Go ahead and add 1 extra damage dice of your weapon type.
Ooh, that's even better. I was going to use one of my combat maneuvers to try and disarm him, but if I can just kill him, that's probably ideal. Where the fuck are all my d8s? All right, we're looking at 12 damage, slashing.
How do you kill this brazen beast?
I'm actually like...
You're not swinging at the main one, right? Like one of the side dudes? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm one of the armed ones. Like,
okay, yeah.
I'm actually around the corner, like listening to this conversation. As soon as I hear like the smack of the spear kind of hit the sand, and like Barzar start to talk about how heavy it is, I like flash around the corner because, to my knowledge, they hadn't seen me, and I stick the guy like right through the neck so he doesn't like create a sound. Efficiently, if anything, a viper strike, if you will.
The only sound is as he kind of like grasps at his throat, blood of his life dripping between his fingers, sapping between them, drooling out down his chest. As he looks at you with this look of horror and fear, you see his eyes behind the mask, and he just kind of and just falls over. Roll initiative. That's your surprise round.
Woo! I'm killing it today. We got 23 for our initiative.
Okay. What'd you give her all? We got Jeshua for 23. We've got the Eagle, 18. We've got Varal with a 17. We've got the Bear, 15. And then last but not least, oh my gosh, I can't remember how to spell your name. Bartzazar with the 12. Hey, Jeshua.
Like slumps off my sword. You can very thick blade, not very gaudy by any means. Very just steel hilt, bound leather cord. Now slicked with blood. I turn my view to the guy on the other side of the middle guard here who had handed over his spear. If I'm not mistaken, it was the middle guard. And I'm going to try and kind of like swipe at the other guy. I don't know if I would provoke. I don't think I would provoke an attack of opportunity from.
No, because you're not moving out of his range. In fact, you're stepping into it. So You're attacking the middle guard now, the one who handed over a spear, you said?
No, I'm attacking the armed guard.
Oh, okay. So you're like swinging around the opposite side. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I got a 15 total.
That is going to miss, barely. Okay. He brings up his spear and catches your blade on the end of it. And he like looks at you, looks at his dead friend, and then you see his eyes hard behind the mask as he realizes that he's been duped. They've been duped. Okay. The eagle looks at you holding his spear, and he is going to reach out and try and pull it away from you, wrest it back into his hands. Go ahead and give me a contested strength check.
Could I? Could I spend my point of inspiration to instead try an acrobatics maneuver to spin away from him?
Yeah, sure. I'll let you use acrobatics instead of athletics for an point of inspiration.
Okay. I will do so. That'll be an 18 total.
He got an 18 on the die, so that's a 22 for him.
Damn it.
So he grabs it. You try and spin away, and you find his foot between your legs as he trips your feet, pushing you away and pulling the spear back as he's going to try and stab Jeshua with it. So here comes an attack at you, Jeshua. Ooh, that's a 19 on the die, 24 to hit. He's using two hands, so it's going to be a D8. That's 8 on the die, plus 3 for his strength. That is going to be an 11 points of damage as his spear buries deep in your thigh, and he twists it and pulls it out.
I'm going to use my combat maneuver parry. Expend one of my superiority die to reduce the total damage.
Okay.
6 on the die, so I take 5 damage.
Okay. Yeah, you managed to catch this spear thrust on the inside of your blade and direct it to the side of your thigh, right in the middle of it. And he just looks in surprise, like he's like, "What? Like, how did he?" And then he looks up at you and he sees the scars. He sees the battle-hardened expression. He sees the blade with all of its wear and tear and its many uses, and he knows that you're a fighter now. And his eyes narrow, and he says, "Kill this one first." Viral, your turn.
Viral draws his short sword with the two more combat experienced folks engaged with both of the enemies, and he races toward the eagle and sort of feigns to stop and looks above him and goes, "Look out from above," as I use the help action, which is a bonus action for me with the Master of Tactics for my Mastermind Rogue, to aid... Sorry, who's engaged with the eagle?
Currently, that would be Jeshua.
So to aid Jeshua. Yeah, so I guess that's the help action. So that's advantage on his next attack against the eagle, I believe.
Okay, cool.
Because I can do that within 30 feet rather than 5 feet, as long as the target can see or hear me. And then I will, with my blade and with making that sort of display, then step over to the bear and try and plant my blade into his side.
Okay, go ahead and make me an attack.
Yeah, it's another 4 on the die, so...
Yeah, that ain't hitting. The bear sees it coming very easily, and this big... he's more muscled than the other ones. Is a strong man. He reaches out and catches your wrist as you try and knife him, and he just looks at you as his other end of the blade of his spear holds Jeshua's blade at bay.
Well,
Okay.
would it be a sneak attack since I'm also kind of within 5 feet of him? So I think that gives a sneak attack to rogues, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, he has
I
to
think that's
hit,
just
though.
damage, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, right, you would get advantage on the attack, is what I'm saying.
If that's for flanking, but...
Because he would be coming at him from behind if that guy turned to parry my strike. I'm not trying to get too technical. That's just my...
I think it was... is Balthazar engaged with the bear?
Hey, we'll settle this with a chance. Viral, roll me a luck die.
Got it.
If you get above a 5, you can have advantage.
No, that was a 4.
Okay, so it bounces out then. So no, he sees you coming and turns to you and blocks you. Okay, the bear. After catching your blade, he's going to kind of like shove you to the side, look at Jeshua and try and stab him with his spear. So one attack coming your way, Jeshua. Oh, he's going to miss terribly. We got a 3 on the die. So that's going to be a 9. No, that's an 8. So he misses completely. You manage to sidestep easily, just dancing between these spears. And he kind of turns his attention towards Baral, who's inside of his guard, basically. Barsazar, your turn.
Barsazar has had this spear kind of wrenched out of his hand, and as he was kind of spinning, he realizes that it failed, and he almost trips because this individual like stuck his leg out. He finishes his spin, kind of reaching down and placing one hand upon the ground just to steady himself and keep himself from falling all the way over. And within a blink of an eye, he's back on his feet and has his short sword drawn, where he continues this spinning maneuver, almost twirling like a dancer, and ends up immediately trying to get behind the eagle. And as he gets there, he's going to leap forward with this short sword that he's drawn for an 18.
Which will definitely hit.
Excellent. Okay, so with sneak attack added in, that is 10, 13 points of damage, slashing.
The eagle is bloodied. So roll me a luck die. Actually, I'll roll a luck die for the eagle. I'll roll one for him. He got a 2. He's going to have disadvantage on dexterity saving throws for the remainder of this fight, as you basically get a kidney shot on him.
Yeah.
So your blade just sinks deep into his flesh, parting the leather like butter and sinking into his exposed back. And he kind of just in pain, like reaches back and kind of like tries to like shove you away as his lifeblood drips from his body. Okay. Anything else, Barsazar?
Yeah. He is going to, as a bonus action, move away from them enough that they would have to move to close to him. But as he does so, he says, I cannot stand close to you. A Meereenese who does not know he is Meereenese is disgusting to me.
And I have a lock on you, and he stands there, like, looking at you as you say this. And under his breath, he growls, Harpy. Okay. Yeshua.
So as like the steel tip of the spear kind of clanks or makes like a poofed sound into the sand as I sidestep it. And I notice that the pressure by the eagle, who is kind of to my right now, is slackened by his jolt of pain that I can kind of recognize. I look towards the bear in front of me. And I'm going to try and kind of like parry off his spear and attack. Not like actual parry, just kind of descriptor wise. For a 18 modified.
Yeah, that hits. You're attacking who? The eagle or the bear?
The bear.
Okay, yeah, that hits.
All right. For 13 damage.
Which will drop him too.
So is he bloodied or is he dead?
The bear dies immediately.
Okay. As he drops, I would kind of look towards the eagle, and maybe to my companions. Any questions for this one? And pattern.
And he kind of wheels about wildly, pointing his spear at each of you, just trying to keep you at a distance. It is his turn. So he's kind of like looking around, kind of looking at each of you, and he's going to actually take the disengage action and run past you, sidestepping your attacks, as you try and bring him down so he can't run, and making his way towards the street. He's going to get about 30 feet down the alley, and so he's like 5 feet away from getting out.
When I had moved away from the crowd, away from them and disengaged on my last turn, is he moving further away from me or towards me?
Where would you have? So you were behind him, right?
Well, we'd followed them into the alley, so I don't
Yeah.
know how wide this alley is, but I would imagine that I probably fell back towards the street where we came from, as
Yeah,
opposed
so
to going past them.
yeah, that's fine. So he's running at you. I mean, he still has the disengage action, so no opportunity attacks, but like
Right.
he'll basically be run past you, shove you out of the way, as he's making his way towards the street, trying to get out of here.
Cool.
And that means it's Varel's turn.
Immediately, Varel springs into action. Sorry, you go.
I was going to say he starts shouting also.
Oh, shit. Excuse my language. So immediately, Varel launches into racing after him, using the dash action as his cunning action if necessary to catch up to him, and basically just crash tackles him from behind, hoping to catch him before they emerge from the alley and sprawl into the streets, knowing that he's already...
His back is to you, so you'll have advantage too.
Okay, cool. Oh, God. With advantage, that is 5.
Oh, my gosh, dude.
I know.
How do you...
feet as well. It doesn't help me grapple them. It just helps me when I've already got them grappled.
Yeah, how do you royally miss? Like, is it luck? Is it like a staying of the hand, like you're afraid to kill? What is it?
I imagine it then, depending... Yeah, this is probably going to end up worse for us than it may have otherwise been, but I kind of imagine that he does make contact with him, but he sort of trips and doesn't make purchase with grabbing him. So basically, yeah, Varel, I don't know how close they are to the exit. I kind of imagine that maybe he sort of stumbles a bit, but he emerges, and Varel
you were going for the grapple?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I was trying to crash tackle him.
Well,
I was trying to crash tackle him.
Check then. So let me hurry and roll for him. So that's contested.
Okay, sure, yeah.
So because he might fail, like if he rolls lower than you. So
okay, sure, yeah. Oh, there's a slim chance, guys. Nat 20.
No, I nat 1.
Oh my god.
I kid you, I freaking nat 1.
For all, I'm impressed.
Hurry up and help me bring him in.
It didn't even look like you meant to do that.
He's like scrambling, like his fingers are on the verge of reaching the edge of the alley as you guys are pulling him back in.
Yeah, I imagine he sort of knocked his leg, and then Varel sort of fell onto a knee, but then his balance was already toppled, so he fell afterwards. Yeah.
Put a little pressure on that kidney wound. He ain't saying shit.
Bring him in. And then I think once you guys come and sort of overpower him, then I think Varel would maybe sort of stand at the corner of the alley, sort of looking out to see if the guy's shouting has drawn any attention, and try and maybe, if he has to, go out and schmooze people away. Maybe just chucking his sword in the alley so that he's not armed, yeah.
Starts yelling himself.
The everyday civilians would want nothing to do with this. They would see this going down, and they would remember like a month ago when random people were being killed in the streets, and they would want nothing to do with this. So they would it's like the bystander effect. Have you guys ever heard of that? Where like everybody's going to expect somebody else to do something about it, so no one does. Like that's what's going on.
Awesome. I think all the same, Varel would probably stay near the exit to the alleyway and sort of keep an eye out, for the moment at least. Yeah,
for sure. So you've got two dead brazen beasts and one very in pain one.
Barsazar will kind of prop him up so that he's kind of seated with his back against the building. And he'll kind of crouch down in front of him, like on the haunches of his calves, and kind of lean forward on his knees. So, your friends, what is his name? And he points to the bear.
He spits in your face.
All right, press on the wound. You got 2 more chances, and I'm just going to kill you.
Patience. Patience. He is right, though. You will die. Sooner if you answer our questions. So, his name.
You would like look over, and you're pointing at which one, the bear or the dog? The bear.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of like sits there for a second. You're not sure if he's going to answer, and he'd look over at you, kneeling next to him, ready to punch him in the side, right in that kidney. Tarshik, roll me insight.
Hey. That's a 14.
He's lying through his teeth.
Yeah, Belshazzar, speaking of his teeth, is going to actually just turn his short sword upside down and just bring the pommel straight into the side of his teeth right here.
Yeah, like you see him like his head whip to the side. You hear a crack. I'm not even gonna have you roll to hit him. Obviously, I mean he's totally incapacitated, and just teeth just crack. You hear them cracking, and they fall like chunks out of his mouth, little white pebbles.
You see what you make me do? When you misuse your mouth, I misuse your mouth. So, again, I ask you, what is his name?
Yaren.
I believe him this time.
Yeah.
Yarim. See? It's good to honor your fallen friends. Speaking of which, he kind of grabs his face on both sides, kind of pushing a little hard where those teeth just went missing.
He grunts.
And turns it forcefully towards the dog and him.
His eyes would kind of like look at you and then look back at it. And he's like weighing it out in his head, it looks like. He's just like sitting there considering whether or not he wants to answer. I'm guessing you squeeze a little harder or something.
Sure.
Feels that press that fist on the side. Keswick.
Do I believe this?
Yeah.
Good. Good. He kind of draws this kind of long, wicked-looking dagger. It's kind of got this backwards curve to it. And he kind of twirls it over the back of his hand before it kind of comes to rest in his palm, which he then kind of taps against the man's cheek. And you, my handsome friend, what is your name?
Salus.
He kind of turns where he can kind of catch Viral's eye, perhaps, and kind of shrug as if to say, is there any more that we need to know?
I would look back and catch the glance and just sort of give a subtle nod and look back out at the alley.
As in there is more that you need to know?
Sorry, no, indicating kill the dude.
Okay.
He kind of looks over his shoulder at Yeshua. Are you satisfied?
You don't even get a chance to finish your sentences, I like. Push your hand into his wound with your knife. kind of smirking at you, not even looking at him. See, it is fun. It is fun when we do it as a team.
Yeah, he kind of pulls his knife out and wipes it on the man's clothing.
Hey, easy, easy. You'll be wearing these later.
Yes, because there's not blood covering them already. You
Is
saw
true.
to that.
This is true. I think I have change of my heart. I am thinking that, and he like picks up the dog helmet, kind of like brushes off the dirt of like the guy who kind of fell to the ground. I like this one. The dog.
That would make you Keswick.
Keswick.
You, very well. Which do you wish?
Killer's choice, my friend. I think
Well.
you earned it more than I.
You were the one who stopped him. But, fair enough. The bear is large, but I think I can pull him off.
And Varel now walks back into the alley, sort of abandoning the need to look out, since there's not been any real suspicion. And picks up the eagle mask, hefts it in his hand. I imagine it's quite heavy if they're like the Sons of the Harpy masks, like a solid sort of metal mask. And
Yeah, it's
looks
like a
over.
brass.
Yeah, brass, yeah. And looks over to Yeshua with a grin and says, "Then I suppose I will be the eagle they will sing the songs about, huh?"
It is only deserving. You impressed me. I thought you had never killed a man. I don't know if maybe you have, but you can at least tackle one, am I right? And like kind of slap Balthazar on the chest. Barza.
And he sort of holds his hands out to the side to show sort of like that he's, not holding anything, like I didn't do anything kind of thing. It was not me who struck any of the blows, as he walks to retrieve his short sword.
So like kind of like taking maybe one of their like cloaks or tunics or whatever, and like throwing the stuff that we need from them into like that and kind of tying it off. Like walking over to Viral and like putting my arm around his shoulder. You have potential. I am very impressed. Kind of like walking into actually, should we hide these bodies? Do people care? They didn't seem to care.
I think people will care more when there aren't like armed people like kneeling over them, or if more brazen beasts find it, or Dothraki. So
We should probably hide these.
Yeah, what have we got in the alley? Anything that that's like in the immediate vicinity, we can hide them quite easily, or are we gonna have to drag these suckers?
I'll go ahead and roll you. I'll roll you guys a luck die. Let's see. Wow. Okay, that's a 7. So this alley is between a merchant, like a guild, like so there are a bunch of like crates stacked up outside, and there's a well at the very end of this alley, kind of that connects several streets as well. So you've got 2 options basically. You can stack them in the crates or dump them in the well.
Well, will attract more attention, I feel like.
We should not dump the bodies in the water. It will poison everyone here. Okay.
Plus, the crates are closer, no? He says as he sort of gestures to the bear, the big guy, to start dragging.
And Balthazar kind of shrugs and kind of matter-of-factly says, if we have to, we break his arms to fit him in.
Okay, so you're gonna stuff them in crates then? All right. Yeah, they're easily pried open. You see that they're filled with like textiles. Some of them are like they have like bolts of cloth in them. There's like one that's like rice. You see one that's like there are like there's an empty one. so you could just stuff them in pretty easily. Maybe making a bit of space by tossing some stuff out or hiding them somewhere. But yeah, you stuff the bodies in the crates, take their masks and their clothing, and as you're finishing closing the crates back up, you hear a shout of excitement coming from the pits. There's a loud cheer, just.
I'm telling you this, it is a lot louder when you are in the pit.
I imagine that if the crowd is mostly Dothraki, then perhaps that is our man.
He is fighting today. I know this.
We should hurry. Where is this place that you know to hide these masks and disguises?
In the lower tier of the holding cells, they have lockers for the good fighters, the renowned, the one they want to see outfitted with gear. Some of these stay rather popular with various individuals, but there are some that are kind of left undisturbed. Perhaps mine is even undisturbed. Who knows?
Show us the way, Yeshua.
So maybe like going away from maybe the crowd, kind of funneling into the pit. I'm gonna go back around like the service entrance.
There's a fighter's entrance, so you can use the fighter's entrance if you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you make your way over there. They recognize you. There are a couple like pats on the shoulder, like Yeshua. Like, oh, come on in. Like, oh, I owe you a beer.
Oh, my friends, it is much better to see you without change. It's nicer knowing that I can kill you on the spot for your mistreatment of me. I will let it slide.
Like, oh, we'd like to see you try Yeshua. Oh, I'll take you. And there's like all these jabs going back and forth. I mean,
it's like I have my sword drawn. It's like, ah.
Yeah, exactly. Like fighters have come to terms with death, so they make a joke out of it entirely. So like you guys, like you share some jet laughs, some inside jokes, words are shared, and you can make your way down very easily. Nobody would really give you any trouble or ask what you're up to.
Thoreau would say to Yeshua, "Are you sure that your locker will be not visited? You seem like such a renowned warrior, my friend. Will it be quiet enough to hide these masks?"
Well, you see, and he like would hold his sword scabbard again. This is all I had, and they gave me a locker. So I would hope so. I don't have anything in it.
Take a freaking point of
100 lockers.
That's all I have, and they give me a locker.
That's so good.
It isn't even large enough for my for the length of my blade. But follow me. It is in the far corner. They do not bother much back there. It is quite dark.
And speaking of the blood that is on these uniforms, I think the two of you should go and watch our target, see how he fights. And if there is such a place to do so, I would like to wash these garments before we must wear them.
Yeah, perfect. There are like servant like people who kind of like do that for you. And they don't ask questions. I mean, like it's bloody like armor essentially. Like it would make sense that it needs to get washed and cleaned. So yeah, you could easily just have like a servant take that for you and clean it.
So yeah, this person's like walking by and just kind of slap it into his chest and it's like, go on, take care of it.
Yeah, the only thing you
keep the masks.
Yeah, the only thing you want to keep is the mask, really. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you could easily hand it to like one of the attendants of like the Colosseum area, and he would just take it, like nod to you. Yes, esteemed warrior, and turn and like leave.
Masks, I imagine we probably wrapped up in some of the textile that we found in one of the crates to keep.
Yeah, or some that I was carrying. Yeah, fresh soap.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, as you're kind of handing this off, kind of taking in, it's like this like area. These tunnels beneath the Colosseum itself are just lined with like pillars and rows of these like lockers. There's like a natural like a hot spring that kind of comes through here, steams in the air. You see there's several warriors taking baths down here. There are all sorts of psychotic, like psychedelics and stimulants going on down here too. I mean, like the warriors are living essentially. So as you guys hear, like make your way back towards the service, you hear the shouting, the cheers. It's like thunder. And as you come up through this entrance onto the seats, onto the benches, you see that the sand is already stained red. It's in the middle of the day. There have already been fights. And standing in the center, I'll go ahead and put up this picture, is a large Dothraki. Here. He's a big man, covered in scars, just lace his body. His braid, like I said, just stretches all the way down the small of his back, stopping just shy of his waist. One of the longest braids you've ever seen, actually. He carries this curved sword, this huge curved sword, which he lazily has resting on his shoulder. At his waist, you see an assortment of other weapons, like daggers and a couple of throwing daggers and axes. Can I sleight of hand some? You want to steal some psychedelics? Yeah, go ahead and roll me a sleight of hand. That's fine. But he is standing, like his hands raised, just like the cheers just rising every single time he moves his hands, just shouting, just, ah! Everyone just. Did you get another nat 20? Oh, okay, 24. 24 is super good. What do you want, a psychedelic or a stimulant?
No, definitely psychedelic. The intention is that, you know, if I come across someone that I need to give it to make them more, you know, pliable.
They have hallucinogens too, if you want one of those instead.
Perfect. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so you want a hallucinogen. Yeah, you'd be able to, like, as you're walking past one of these baths, you would just be able to, like, grab a handful of this, like, wet salt and just put it in, like, wrap it in cloth, and just save that for later. That's perfect, yeah. Yeah, so the call, oh my gosh, I forgot his name. Call Ishak is standing there, his hands raised, sword raised overhead, shouting, screaming. Everyone's screaming in response. When before him at the other gate, a brazen beast actually walks. He's wearing a bull's mask, and as he steps out, this man's huge. This brazen beast is ginormous. Maybe not quite as big as the mountain, but maybe like a foot smaller, but still big, like a big dude. He's carrying a huge axe, and he just steps out of the pit, just calm, quiet. He's not wearing any armor. Neither is called Ishak, and they stare at each other. And you know that this warrior, this brazen beast, is actually a famed gladiator, a famed fighter in this pit. They just call him Taurus the Bull. And he just kind of just walks out quiet, no fanfare for him. The two size each other up, and before the fight starts, I'm gonna want. So each of you, it's gonna be a skill challenge. Each of you choose something that you want to try and analyze Khal Drogo in. I'm not Khal Drogo. Khal Ishak in, and I will tell you based off what you choose to analyze him, and you'll get a piece of information about him.
Barsazar is going to pay particular attention to his footwork. He's going to watch the way he moves, where he steps, those kinds of things.
Okay.
I'm gonna pay attention to his form and like his stances with like maybe a sleight of hand to kind of see how he balances his swords and which is his offhand, etc.
Okay, so sleight of hand to see his form. What are you going to roll to see his footwork?
Well, stealth would be ideal, but I doubt that makes much sense. So I think probably perception.
Okay, so you've got perception to see footwork, sleight of hand to see form, and what do you want to roll, Keel, to see to analyze him?
How about just straight up insight?
And what are you trying to analyze with insight?
I suppose maybe from a weakness perspective, maybe, or from.
Okay, so you want to see if he has any weaknesses?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, so the fight's going to start. So go ahead, everybody, roll me your rolls and put it in the chat. So we got 16 to 15, and then what'd you get, Keel? A 9. Okay. So footwork. As you're watching him move his feet, you see that he is very, very steady. Definitely a skilled warrior. His steps are deliberate. Each step is basically the perfect step. What I'm going to give you for analyzing this specifically, you now know that his dexterity, metagame wise, is a 14. So with the 16 to analyze his form, what I'm going to give you for him is a weakness that he has. You see that his left hand is not as good as his right hand when it comes to fighting. And additionally, his grip in his left hand seems weaker. Maybe an old injury or a scar or some sort. Like some sort of battle wound maybe weaken that hand. And then for the 9, to check just specifically for weaknesses to see where he might be lacking. Being a warrior, this makes sense, so you wouldn't know exactly what you're looking for. But what I'll give you is that you know that at the very least, he is probably proficient with every weapon he has ever laid his hands on. So anything he can pick up, he can probably fight with. Okay, so the fight commences. It looks close for a while. The two of them are sharing blows. Nobody's taking any cuts or anything, spilling any blood. The two of them are locked in a savage combat. Finally, the first person to land a blow actually is Taurus, and that's because he forced him to switch hands. You see him knock the blade aside and score a deep cut across his chest. But Khal recovers quickly, rotates around, slices out the back of his legs, and then just cuts his throat, just as quick as that. He turns a weak opportunity into a strength, and takes the overswing and kills him with it. The screams just rise, just a staccato, thunderous noise in the air. The dust settles. Taurus's body is carried off the field. And that is where we'll take a quick break. So go ahead and go get a drink, go to the bathroom, get what you need to, be back here in 5 minutes, okay?
Cool.
This is the second game I played a cruel PC.
Right?
Right?
I'm like, oh no, this is going to become a habit.
I hope this isn't becoming a trend. We tortured somebody last night.
That person deserved it.
Truly, I got stabbed.
That's
Screw that. Screw that person.
There is a message in the chat that Tyler should see.
Yeah, I seen that. I didn't want to say anything because I don't really think it's my place. But
Exactly. Well, I am brazen.
this guy's apparently pretty strong. He killed this massive dude pretty quick.
Ain't scared.
I mean, realistically, if anything, that means he's out for the quick kill. So we should do the same.
Maybe he'll take a bath and we can just drown him.
Maybe.
That way he doesn't have any weapons.
Do the Dothraki bathe?
Oh, good point.
They dust bath. They're like chinchillas.
Maybe a damp cloth at best. Maybe we could soak his damp cloth in the hallucinogen.
Does this smell like chloroform to you?
Have you seen? All right, there is a viral video going around where this guy's like, "I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna see what the big deal is about chloroform," and he like takes this rag, and he like, and he's like, "See, not even," and like he falls into this wall, and it catches the whole thing on video. And it's like,
idiot.
It's really funny.
Oh my god!
You see him like recoil as he smacks into the wall in front of him. And it's like, what did you expect to happen?
You get the runner-up for the Darwin Award.
Yep.
So who's running into walls and not thinking about it?
Viral video involving chloroform.
Oh.
There is a message in the chat that Jeremy brought up.
Yep.
A message in the chat.
The
In the messenger chat. Okay.
Yeah.
Here, I pull this up.
Oh, okay. I opened up the YouTube live stream to see the comments in there. And I'm like, what? There's nothing untoward in there. What are you talking about? No, that's cool. I see what you mean.
And he'll be, oh man, home in 25.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure we'll still be going at that point, but it'd be a
hard intro.
Place, yeah, to try to put him in.
Yeah, that's up to you.
And he was waiting in the Carl's bedchamber all along.
Yeah.
We're all in there to kill him. Like, what are you doing here?
Yeah, he's
what
the
are you doing?
Actually,
he's the. What are you doing here? What are you doing here?
Yeah, it's that thing of two Spider-Mans.
What are you doing here?
Yeah, nice. How you guys feeling so far?
Great.
Like we're doing pretty good. We're doing pretty solid, I think. I'm down to my last superior. Actually, no, I have 2 superiority dice left. We're good.
I must say, guys, like you guys did a really good job of coming up with like a plan. Like I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
I give credit to how much Blades we've played. last night we came up with an incredible plan, and so.
You guys play? Wait, who's in the Blades group? Blades in the Dark.
Eli Kurtz is running it, and it's Jeremy, Derek. I don't know Derek's last name.
Derek Smith.
Derek Smith and
Dude,
myself.
I own that dang game, but I still have not had the chance to even try it yet. It makes me so sad.
It's a lot of fun.
Dude, the game looks amazing.
It's a very complicated game to learn if you're coming from like a game like 5th edition for me. So it's been very, very
New.
There's been a steep learning curve.
Yeah.
But it's a really interesting system, and it's very, very integrated into the setting. So it works really well.
The book still looks brand freaking new for me. I want to play it so bad.
It's fun.
I like it's very connection based. Like you come up with connections to like
Yeah, I
NPCs.
love that. Oh, it's so cool.
I think in the first 5 sessions, we've all at least referenced one NPC that we all created.
Oh, dude, yeah. I love that about the system. What I love about the system is the clock. Like the clock,
timers.
like the timers. Yeah, I think that's such a cool mechanic. Yeah,
we've used it quite a bit. I mean, we said there's a steep learning curve. Like we were talking last night, I had no idea what I was doing building my character, so my character's kind of adapted as we've gone. And it's very interesting to see. I like it.
Man.
I dig it.
The game's killer. From what I've read, so cool. I love the lore of the world too. It reminds me of something like Dishonored meets like
Peaky Blinders. That's exactly what it is. It's 100% what it is.
Yeah, okay.
Peaky Blades in the Dark. Honored.
Yeah, it's awesome. Anyways, so let's go ahead and do character intros and plug. If you have a channel you want to plug, if you want to plug whatever, I will go ahead and start with Jeremy and end with Baron.
Hey everybody, my name is Jeremy. I run the YouTube channel The Erasmus Expeditions, where we do live plays and things like that. I also have some crafting videos and some videos just talking about RPGs in general. And I'm also 1/3 of the podcast The Dudes of Yore with my buddies Jeff Doty and Chad Nick. So that can also be found on YouTube. You should drop by and give us a chat. Yeah, I'm playing Bar Cesar. He is an assassin rogue, and I've been a huge fan of Game of Thrones since the show came out. And yeah, I'm having a blast. So thank you for having me, Tyler.
For sure, mate. Always a pleasure. And go check out his channel. He's got a really cool world on his channel called Caldera. Highly recommend watching his scatter shots for that world. Really cool. Okay, Keel.
Hey, sorry, my dogs are just quacking around. My name's Keel, Keel Adam. I am playing Varal Dazak, Meereen silk merchant, who's been sympathetic to the Sons of the Harpy's cause and has been basically helping them from the shadows best he can. And yeah, loving this game. This is the second Game of Thrones game that I've played in, also run by Tyler. It was the first one, and this is awesome playing on sort of the baddies side. Yeah, it's great fun and awesome to play with Jeremy and Baron, having fun. Thanks, guys.
For sure, man. Thanks for playing. If you haven't seen the other game, Keel killed it in that game. Awesome game. Go check it out. Baron.
What's up, everybody? I'm Baron. I run the YouTube channel RWD Gaming. We got some live plays up there. There'll be a new game coming out next Friday. It'll be the 3rd installment of my Shattered series, so come hang out. Jeremy will be there. If you're into giant robots, then it'll certainly be up your alley.
You're lying to the people, Baron. I won't be there.
Oh, I did. I forgot about that.
I won't be there. I should be there.
Won't be there. You won't be there. So take that back. For those of you that don't like Jeremy, come hang out.
I'll be there then. I'll be there.
See you there, Tyler. So other than that, I have been playing Jeshua the Swordsman, an ex-gladiator kind of coming into his own now that Meereen is in a change of power. So he's trying to do what he can to make the most gold. And so far, so good. Thanks for having me. I'm having a blast.
Great, guys. Awesome. As always, if you're tuning into this game, obviously it's on my channel. I'm DM Ty from the channel On a Roll. It's ROLE, like role play. I need to specify. And I am loving this. Game of Thrones provides such an awesome world to play in. So I am loving having these guys. They're doing awesome at making a plan and being bad guys. So without further ado, without further preamble, let's go kill a call. Silence. Silence is what follows as
Silence.
the Gaul steps off the field. And as he leaves, stepping up into the stands, moving up to his fellow honor guard, the crowd mills about, waiting for the next fight to start, and you are left knowing that the person you hunt is a skilled fighter.
Did you see his form? He favors his left. If we can manage to disarm his right, perhaps we can put him in a position where we are at the advantage.
Perhaps. Balthazar kind of like exhales heavily. He is going to be a very tough individual to take down.
Confidence, my friend. Confidence. Confidence is key. As you can see, he's not much of an entertainer either. He's quick. He goes for the kill shot. If you can survive that, you're in his guard and you can take him down.
It is a rather large
simple matter.
Exactly.
At least we'll have the element of surprise, huh? And he will be mostly alone, I think.
And I think most importantly, he doesn't seem to be afraid. And men who aren't afraid don't expect to die.
Does seem to be confident, like most of the Dothraki are. We could also use that to our advantage. It is unlikely that he is closely watched while he sleeps.
They are a prideful bunch. Pride begets us all. And he kind of like smiles a bit.
Let us hope complacency and pride will be his undoing, huh? He rests in the Great Pyramid, no? They should not expect anybody to be inside, which we must be beforehand. Shall we go and retrieve the masks and prepare our new identities for the evening, huh?
Yes, I think that is wise. We should see about our business, Salus. He kind of says with a heavy wink.
Yes, Yarin. And Keswick, come along. Show us back to the locker.
Very well. Our garments should be clean as well. And I would take my step to return back to the cool, probably musty smelling pits.
Yeah, it's very damp and earthy down beneath those musty pits deep beneath the Colosseum itself. The moment you step down the stairs, one of the attendants of the Colosseum will kind of step up to you, offering like a tray of like fresh fruit and water, if you are so inclined. At musty pits.
Phrasing.
Yeah. Balthazar will absolutely take the advantage of the fresh fruit, as well as wine if it's offered.
Yeah, everything is for the fighter's comfort here. And seeing as you're with one of them, you're afforded this comforts too. So as you guys step down in, they're kind of offering like all these delicacies on trays. You see there's like a pit with meat roasting over it. You had no idea how nice it was down here. So it's pretty breathtaking just to see how well they treat the fighters.
Was it this lavish when the old ways were in full swing?
Yes and no. This was mostly observed for fighters who had earned their freedom but kept fighting. Slaves are slaves, there's no doubt about it.
It's true.
Balthazar is kind of licking his fingers, the kind of juice from this mutton that he's just finished eating. And you chose to walk away from all of this?
I would like probably finish whatever fruit I was eating as well. There is more gold to be made not offering up my life every time I choose to make it. And you must understand, this is the biggest pit. They are all not this luxurious. Some of us worked from the bottom.
I'd say this is a fair assessment. Very well then. Before we overstay our welcome, perhaps we should change venues.
I agree. Let us go.
Yeah, the clothes would be resting, folded, and waiting for you in this locker of yours. And you would see that they even patched up the holes in the wounds and cleaned the blood off of it. So they look almost as good as new. The leather's been sewn back together. You barely can even tell that somebody was stabbed.
Do you think we should change here? Or should we find another place to do so before we go into the pyramid?
I have a little spot we can go and prepare ourselves in, and I have some extra supplies there, which may find use in the mission tonight.
Very well. If we are making a secondary stop, then we really should hurry.
It's not too far. It is in the around the market area.
So you're going to your where are you going to your shop?
Yeah, I've got a chest there with some sort of extra adventuring gear that would go and collect, and we can get changed there.
Okay, and you're a spice merchant, right?
Silk merchant.
Silk. Okay. So you kind of you go to the I mean, you've always found this kind of strange. Most people do, but as a merchant yourself, you understand that the reason why shops of the same type group together is so that people know where they can go to shop for them. Essentially, it's a centralized location. So as you step into like the silk quarter, the textile area of the bazaar, just there are fabrics of blues, golds, ivories, jades, silvers, just hanging from lines, put in full display for people to look at and touch, feel the fine fabrics between their fingers. It is busy here with the hustle and bustle of people buying and selling, and you hear shouts from vendors harking their wares. You hear the yells of people haggling over prices. And you feel like you are at home overall. This is home to you, and you find your shop very easily.
He takes in a deep breath, obviously enjoying this air much more than the Dothraki stink that's found elsewhere in the city, and welcomes Yeshua and Balthazar in, and ushers them sort of behind, or gestures behind some hanging fabrics. It's so that they can put on their gear, I suppose. And he goes over to a small chest, unlocks it, and pops it open and pulls out a sack and stuffs into it things like what looks like a forgery kit with an inkwell, like a sealed inkwell and a quill, like some manacles and a lock, like a mirror, just a bunch of things that he puts in there, some that he will take along tonight, basically knowing that he's not sort of a frontline combatant, so trying to be as prepared as he can, stepping into something that is never really attempted himself before.
Yeah, conveniently being here in the silk area, the silk quarter of the bazaar, the Dothraki wear very simple clothing. They have no use for silks. So this place is very free of their stink, as you call it, and of Dothraki themselves, making it a very ideal place to change into your outfits and to make your way towards the temple. And as you prepare, as you take up these items, the sun begins to set slowly, making its way over the mountains behind the Great Pyramid, which casts a shadow over the entire city as the sun falls. You know, at about this time, the rest of the brazen beasts will be making their way back towards the Great Pyramid, as it kind of serves as like a barracks and headquarters for them too.
Okay, so how do we get in?
You would be surprised how many people will not question you when you just simply walk in the front door. Part of skulking about, which is my business, is looking like you belong and acting the part. As Yeshua said, confidence.
Confidence, yes. But you are Yarim.
Good point. So then, yeah, we'll. My plan is to just walk in the front door once we have the disguises on.
Okay. As you make your way towards the Great Pyramid, you would see that other patrols, other groups of three, have kind of like they're making their way in the same direction. Some of them would kind of give you nods, never saying anything else to you, but just a nod, which I'm guessing you probably return to fit in. And as you continue winding your way through the streets, you see that curfew is being enforced. People are starting to make their way into their houses. The streets are starting to quiet down. The merchants are closing up their shops, and silence is beginning to fall over Meereen. Upon reaching the base of the temple, you are just, every time you see it, you're struck with wonder at how big this pyramid is. Every other pyramid in the entirety of Meereen doesn't even compare to the Great Pyramid. Maybe the tallest being half of its height. It is a monolith, a massive, massive monolith. And as you gaze up towards the top, anger, pain, sadness racking your hearts as you see that the Harpy is missing. You know that tonight you get a shot at vengeance. Tonight you get a chance to strike back, finally, after what seems like far too long. The front entrance is guarded by a couple of brazen beasts who would kind of just look at you. They wouldn't say anything. They would just give you those nods again. Brazen beasts are known to be rather quiet unless confronted. And as you make your way past them, stepping into the grand entrance, this large rectangular opening, you see something, because have any of you ever gone for petitions?
No.
I probably have gone to petitions, but not like it probably would have been while Daenerys was
here. Okay.
So it probably would not have been here that I came, because I imagine I probably petitioned to assassinate her.
Okay. Yeah. You know, the petitions, like usually they like check everybody first before letting them in. But what you're surprised to see is you kind of enter into this area, kind of stepping into the darkness, into the shadow. A few torches lighting your path. You see Skahaz Mokandak, the Shave Pate, the leader of the Brazen Beasts, standing there with a couple, maybe like 6 more flanking him. And each Brazen Beast who wants to go past him has to stop and talk to him. This is something you did not know of before.
And there is no way to get deeper into the complex without going past him.
Without going past him, no.
Okay.
One of Varal's class abilities as a mastermind rogue, is that he can unerringly mimic the speech patterns and accent of a creature that he's heard speak for at least 1 minute, provided that he knows the language. So.
Yeah, you can mimic Salus like perfectly.
Yeah. So he might have to do the talking, but I think the other 2 will probably be questioned as well. But knowing this, he might sort of try and find that confidence that the other 2 are talking about, and and stride up and try and mimic Salus in greeting Scars.
Okay. So you see that every conversation doesn't last longer than 10 seconds. It's always about 10 seconds long. So as you approach, are you going to try and figure out what the conversations are? Like if it's a password,
Absolutely.
like what is it? Okay. Roll me either perception, investigation, or insight.
I'm going to use inspiration because I just rolled in that one.
Good call.
Oh my god! And then it came up with a 2. So there we go. I would say insight. So that's a total of 8.
Okay. You can't tell specifically what's being said. You see the one piece of the conversation you get is when he asks their name, their true name. So he looks at each of them and he says name, and then there's some other small conversation that happens after that. You know that he says something, and then the other person responds with 3 words.
Okay. Are we close enough? Am I close enough to hear? And or how many more people are going to go through to try and get close enough to hear before we have to?
You've got like one other person before you. Though if you wanted to, you could try and like make somebody else go before you, like another, not one of your group, like another person, by like causing like a, not necessarily a scene, like you could like drop something or like do something else. Like it's up to you. To try and give yourself more time to figure this out.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, you cut out a little bit there.
I leave that up to your cunning to figure out how you're going to figure this out, like how you're going to get yourself one more time.
Sure, yeah. So I think maybe seeing this and maybe glancing behind him and seeing potentially that there's at least another brazen beast, if not more, coming up, and wanting as many people to go through before them as possible to try and figure out what's going on. He pretends to reach for something and drops the manacles out of his pack. So this chain rattles to the ground, and he sort of scrambles to pick it up and tries to sort of usher himself and his 2 comrades to the side. Just sorry everyone, just getting out of the way here. You guys go through.
Roll me performance with advantage.
Oh, nat 20.
Oh, okay. Scars kind of gives you a dirty look, like this, like what do you think you're doing? Like, come on, soldier, like be better than that, essentially. And he kind of just gives it like a disgusted grunt, and then calls the group right behind you up. So you're gonna get one more attempt to make a roll. Go ahead and give me either that insight, investigation, or perception.
Can I maybe position one of my colleagues to get advantage on this?
Everybody can roll on this one.
Oh, cool. So 19 for insight.
Nice. Okay.
I got a 16 insight.
Okay. So 2 of you are going to hear this pretty clearly. The 8 isn't. You don't know if it's because Skahaz is angry, like kind of just like disgusted with like you dropping your stuff and like causing like an issue with the line, or what it is, but he speaks a little louder this time. So you hear him ask his name. The person responds, and then he says, "What does every beast need?" And the person responds, "A beast needs his freedom." So you 2 hear that. Sorry, my friend, but you're not going to, Mr. Yeshua. You're going to have to try and listen, or one of them is going to have to respond loudly.
Do I think that it would be possible that I could whisper it to him before we get there? Maybe even having Viral go first?
Go ahead and, yeah, Viral could step up and do this. You 2 can roll. Jeremy, roll me like a sleight of hand, like to be stealthy about giving this information. And then I'm going to need like a perception and advantage from you, Yeshua, to hear it.
I got a 9 on that sleight of hand.
Okay.
$21 for my perception.
Okay. So you're going to get him the information. He's going to hear it. But Skahaz is going to be suspicious. So he's gonna be receiving the password from you of Varal, but he looks at you two as you guys are talking. Something you wish to share?
Forgive me. I was only congratulating our friend. He had placed a bet on the games we had gone to earlier.
We do not speak at the entrance with anyone but me. You know the regulations.
I apologize. My excitement got the better of my judgment. I accept full responsibility.
Of course you will. No meal tonight.
As you wish.
And he turns over to you and looks at you, Varal. Name?
Salis.
What does every beast need?
A beast needs his freedom.
Good. Go on. Next. And he'd look at you, Yarim.
He will step forward, almost kind of averting his eyes a little, almost trying to be submissive.
Okay. I'm going to roll me deception. He's going to roll insight because he's already suspicious of you.
An 18.
Oh, he rolled terribly. He got a 3 on the die. That's like a 9. Okay. So he just kind of like huffs at you. Name.
Yarim.
What does every beast need?
A beast needs his freedom.
Get inside. If I find that you got a meal, I will make sure you get a proper flogging.
Of course, sir.
He kind of waves you through, and then he turns and looks at you, Keswick. Name.
Kusik.
What does every beast need?
A beast needs his freedom.
Don't let your squad mate talk in the entrance again, or else both of you will lose your meals.
Yes, sir.
Go. You feel eyes boring into your back as you make your way up the steps. But you know at least you're inside the pyramid now. Once you reach the top of the stairs, you see brazen beasts just kind of like peeling off in different directions. Some make their way towards an area where you can smell food. Some of them are making their way off a side passage. You see them pulling off their masks and like disrobing essentially to go to sleep. It's just like kind of like people are milling about down here. You see a couple of Dothraki too, who are laughing and we kind of like making wagers and bets and chatting amiably as they walk past you.
So the place where we are going, it is at the top, yes?
Yes. This is what my sources tell me.
Then we should get climbing. We should find stairs.
Hopefully not all of them are too heavily patrolled. But as you say, confidence. Yarim, Keswick, and Salis are supposed to be here. We are supposed to be here.
Are there any brazen beasts who are drinking and carousing at all?
There are, I mean, you assume in the mess hall, this area where everyone's eating, there's probably drinks in there. I mean, you see a couple kind of going past you, chatting and laughing. They're coming from a different quarter than the mess hall, though, and they're kind of staggering against each other.
Do they have bottles or cups or anything?
No, but they reek of alcohol.
Okay. Perhaps we should stop in the mess hall for a moment. I have an idea.
Don't let Shazak see you. Shakaz.
That's a great point. Maybe I will stand outside the door. You should go in. Get a bottle of the strongest thing you can find. We, too, will smell as if we have had a fun evening.
Well, I intend to have a fun evening either way, my friend. And I'll head towards the hallway where I've seen these men walking away from.
So you guys are going into the mess hall?
I believe me and Viral are.
Silas. Yeah.
Okay. So you guys make your way, and I'm actually going to hold you guys accountable to this. If you say the other person's name wrong, other people are going to hear it.
Yeah.
So from
I
here
don't
on
necessarily
out,
know if I would have said that out loud, but I agree.
yeah, I mean, but if you're in conversation and you say the other name, I'm going to hold you guys to it. Okay, so you guys go into the mess hall. You see just tables filled with Dothraki, with brazen beasts, some Meereenese, just all manner of individuals, male, female, everybody. People are eating, drinking, chatting. It's a good time in here. As and any soldier's camp is, the mess hall is always a good place to be. And you see that they just kind of have the food just like set out, like anybody can eat it. Like you guys can just take whatever you want. They're not like regulating it or anything. I mean, you're the defenders of the city, so they want to keep you guys well fed, especially while they have food in good supply.
Go on, Solus. Take the lead.
Are you thirsty, Kazik?
Oh,
Where
you
is-
know I am thirsty.
Where is the drink? As he looks around, trying to spot it.
Yeah, you can see on the far end of the hall, there's like a large kind of table up against the wall, and resting upon it are just like myriad different bottles of drinks of whatever. You see wines, you see like hard liquors, like ale, like everything, like just like whatever you could think of that you want to drink. Essentially, they have it here.
Cool. Salis would, I'm just going to be in the habit of it. Salis would go up and, so are they like behind like a counter, or can they be handled by us?
They can be handled by anyone.
Okay, yeah. So he'd sniff through some of them, look up and swirl some of them in bottles that can be seen into, and try and basically pick one of the strongest smelling alcohols, since they're just going to be sort of splashing it on themselves a bit.
Yeah, you get this like really cheap, like very cheaply made Yonkai wine. It's like the swill that they'd give the slaves essentially. But you can grab that. It's very strong smelling, like a very powerful, like not distilled at all. Like this is like I don't know, like something I don't. It's really strong, but you can grab
moonshine.
Yeah, you got moonshine essentially. So as you grab it and kind of like carry the bottle off with you, people are like sneer, like they're like joking and laughing as you're carrying it away. Like, oh, you're like your tastes are terrible, Salis. Like, come on, get a real drink. You feel a hand slap on your shoulder, Salis.
Huh? And he turns.
And you encounter a man with a viper's mask. And he's like looking at you. You see there's a smile in his eyes, a smile on his just he's grinning at you. Salis, I knew that your choice in drink had fallen, but I never knew it had fallen this far.
Well,
And you, Keswick, you drink this swill with him?
It has been a long day.
Every day's a long day when you're putting your life on the line, my friend.
Kind of like nodding to him and trying not to talk too much.
You're being. What happened to Keswick, Salas? He's being awfully quiet. He's usually the talkative one.
And yeah, drawing on his mimicry class ability here, he's doing a pretty good impersonation of Salas's voice, even if he doesn't know who the hell this is. Well, you know, we've had a big day. You know how it is, huh?
Those harpies are relentless, you know.
Ugh, the harpies. And he kind of like lifts up the bottom of his mask just to spit on the floor, just in disgust, before sliding it back down. I heard that a couple of our boys caught some of them just today. You want to come down and question them with us?
Oh, court. Where? How many?
There were a small group of them, like 5, I think, or 6. They caught them on the western edge of the city. 3 of them managed to kill themselves before we could take them. The other 3, not quite.
Huh. Cowards.
Indeed.
They will wish they are dead before we are done, am I right?
They always do. So how about it, boys? Where's Yarm?
He, I think that the shave pate is not in a good mood today. He's banned him from a meal tonight, so he dare not step into the mess hall. Huh?
Well, happens to everyone, but Yarm's the most obedient of us. It's unlucky.
Yes,
What did he do? What did he do to deserve that?
And he sort of leans in and says knowingly, speaking in the entranceway.
Really? And his eyes kind of like widen beneath the mask. I'm surprised the shave pate didn't clock him right then and there.
He holds his hands up like, yep, swear to the Harpy, that's what he did, you know.
It's all of that obedience coming in. It's karma, I tell you. Never caused a problem before. Maybe he's just letting him off easy because of that.
Yeah, well, I think Keswick here is lucky he still has his meal rights today as well. He was the one being spoken to, huh?
Keswick, you know better, my friend. You know better.
It was not a crime to listen in the entryway.
Hey, it is a crime. If Skahaz says it is a crime, huh?
Isn't that the truth? Well, we'll be down in the basement, though, if you want to come in and interrogate a couple prisoners with us. But if not, I guess I understand. It was a long day. Hot one, too.
Yeah, well, we will have some refreshment and find Yarim, and we may see you down there yet. And if not, give them a good one for us, huh?
Yeah, of course. And he looks over at Keswick. Keswick, roll me a performance check. He's going to roll an investigation.
Hoo-hoo. I got a 9.
9 total?
Yeah.
What's your charisma modifier? Because he got a 9.
My charisma modifier is a 0, so.
Okay, well, he's got a +2, so he wins. Keswick, are you sure you're all right?
Actually, I have a point of inspiration. I guess that's over. I guess it's over if you want to.
I'll let you use it if you want to recon.
Come on. Natural 20 on the die.
Okay, what do you do? What do you do perfectly that Keswick would have done?
Maybe while we were following him, I know he has like a tick. He makes like the same hand gesture when he speaks. And I had maybe not been making it until the very end when I caught myself, and I made it as I seen him like start to question me.
Yeah, he's like, Keswick, are you? And you do like this little tick that you noticed when they were talking with him in the alleyway. That he had this thing that he always kept doing whenever he finished a sentence. It's kind of like a this type thing. And as you do it, his eyes kind of like lighten, and he's like, it seems that you're fine after all, Keswick. I'm sorry. I don't know what's gotten into me. I felt like something was off, but maybe not. Have a good night now, you two.
You as well.
And he turns and walks away. You're out of the mess hall now. You can see Yarum standing over in the corner, back against the wall. Kind of in the shadows, but not in the shadows.
It's so long.
I'm kind of like, not shaking like noticeably, but like, holy shit, I have never performed like that in my life.
You're a gladiator. How do you not perform?
I perform with a sword, not with my mouth, like you.
Hey, what did you get? Did you were gone for minutes, and this is what you bring?
This is the smelliest stuff we could find.
Thankfully, it is not something we will have to worry about wasting. He kind of offers, or kind of holds his hands out for the flask or container.
Sully's hands it over after taking one more sort of whiff and like recoiling a little bit, dramatically. Ooh, it's a strong one.
Your eyes start to water. Just
through the mask, just tears behind the mask as he hands it over. Yeah, you first, huh?
Yarim will take it and pull the stopper out and actually kind of pour a little in his other hand and actually splash it kind of up under his underarms. Your body heat will help the ruse. So do as I do. And then he'll actually take it and kind of shake his head and take a swill of it and very obviously kind of hold it in his mouth.
Yeah. Roll me that con save.
That is a 14.
Yeah, you hold your liquor, just barely though. It feels like you're drinking fire. Like that's how, like, purely alcoholic this drink is.
And he kind of swallows it. Hold it in. hold it in as long as you can. Oh, that is terrible.
It's like drinking rubbing alcohol. Like your mouth is a little numb now. It's like.
I think Joshua would take it next, and with much less hesitation, having been a slave at one point, throw it back. Would you like me to also roll a con save?
Yeah, just roll a con save too.
I rolled a 13 on the die with a +4 modifier for total.
Yeah, okay, 17. You're fine then. And then we'll have him. We'll just have him. Okay, yeah, go ahead and take a drink, dude. Roll me that con save, Keel.
Doing it. Sorry, dudes. 18 on the die.
Oh, you're good then. Okay, you all hold your liquor just fine. But like I was telling them, it tastes like you're drinking basically rubbing alcohol. Like it's just so strong, like just straight alcohol.
Proper Yonkai moonshine.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, you smell the part now. You guys have dabbed under your armpits, kind of probably spilled a little bit down your front of your shirt, just to like kind of like make it a little bit more realistic too. You held it in your mouth, so it's on your breath. And you could already feel it kind of working through you. Like this stuff might not taste very good, but it's strong. So what now, gents?
Stair is heading up, I suppose.
Yarum, roll me a luck die.
That's a 2.
You hear, Yarum, stop right there.
He kind of freezes where he's at and kind of turns around to face the voice.
And coming up the stairs with the last group of brazen beasts after they close the door is Skahaz Mokandek.
He kind of hands off the well, I guess he didn't have the bottle. Well, that's probably a good thing. He kind of straightens himself up, almost like coming to attention, if that's a brazen beast kind of thing to do. He's going to do his best to kind of mimic the way they behave.
Yeah. You see that everybody kind of treats each other like friendly, like familiarly, but like everybody treats Skahaz with like fear and respect. So like coming to attention is like perfect. So he walks up to you and he kind of like his nose wrinkles. You smell like a bar.
Sir, without the ability to eat this evening, I thought maybe at best that I excuse me, that I turned in early this evening.
Have you forgotten, soldier, that if you lose meal privileges, you lose alcohol privileges too?
Forgive me, sir. Yes, it is the second mistake I have made this evening.
This is rather strange, Yaram. You usually don't disobey like this.
I had some trouble with an obstinate harpy today. I had to harm him. It does not sit well with me.
That's our job, Yaram.
He had a family. They witnessed the whole thing.
Well, so do you.
I know. And it's just something that I have not dealt with yet. I will be proper tomorrow. I promise.
Yaram, weakness will get you killed. And he kind of just shakes his head. We'll take care of that tonight. Come with me. You two as well. Come.
Yes, guys.
He leads you to a set of stairs going down into the pyramid. And he then walks you down this set of stairs. It gets damper and darker. The torches keeping everything lit. There's no natural light down here. And eventually you step into a large room with sand all across the floor. Shackled to the walls are three harpies. You see their heads sagged. They're bound against the chains, hanging by their manacled wrists. And you can see that one of them's already been worked over, and another one's getting worked over now. You see all sorts of instruments. They're doing everything. Fingernails, toenails. I mean, there are other soldiers down here too. So I mean, if you want to, you can try. But like, there's like a bunch of other people down here, and you see this man in the viper mask. You look up as you guys step in. Ah, Salus, I thought you weren't coming.
Come on, how could we resist, huh? Just had to round up our friend Yarim. Here we are. So
yes,
what have we got?
Well, these are the three remaining ones. We've already worked these two over. They've told us everything I think they can, but this one's yours.
All for me. Kind of looks at his two comrades and just sort of nodding, like,
well,
all
of
right.
course, the captain always takes the lead. He walks over to you and he puts the pair of pliers in your hand. Salus, I've heard you're very good at this. I'm expecting to see you actually work them over pretty well.
He takes the pliers and kind of looks at them, turns them in his hand, and you know, Varal is he's done some dark stuff, and I think maybe this is not something that he's done before, torture to this extent or in this kind of circumstance, and as much as it sort of pains him seeing these three harpies whom he sympathizes with, he knows that this is the only way, and he thinks of a greater purpose here. They need to get through this. They can't blow their cover in order to get to the Karl Ishak. So he raises the pliers and walks towards the closest chained harpy. And
they've given you the one on the far left to work over.
Yeah. So he walks over to him, again, confident, turning the pliers in his hand.
Okay.
And yeah.
So Are you going to go all out, or are you going to like make it look worse than it actually is? Because one will require a check.
Yeah. Let me just triple check my deception. No, I think he's going to go all out. They can't really take any chances, and these dudes aren't getting out of here alive.
Yeah. Hey, Skahaz walks up beside you, and he says, "Where are the rest of your ilk?" And the Harpy just like slow, like his head bowed, black hair just kind of hanging down over his face. He just shakes his head, and he looks over at you and nods.
As in,
yeah, Skahaz looks at you and nods.
Oh, sorry.
Like
Okay, sorry. I thought you meant the Harpy nodded at me like he recognized me.
No, Skahaz did.
Yeah, cool. Okay, yeah. So he just goes straight in, and he'd go for a tooth, I reckon. Ooh. Maybe he'd give him a punch first, or like a knock with the pommel of a dagger or something to sort of loosen him, and then pull a tooth.
Okay, so you're gonna each take, I guess, like 10 minutes on this guy. So I'm gonna have him roll twice resiliently against each of you, and if you're going all out, it's gonna be harder rolls for him not to give up information.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So he lets slip that another group of harpies might be located beneath the pyramid of the house. Let me see real quickly. Of House Lorak. And Skahazan kind of just like slowly nods, like, good. And he kind of looks over at you, Yaram, and kind of like motions you over, like, your turn. So are you going to be deceptive, or are you going to do it for real?
Barsazar, or as Yarim, is going to... Barsazar's definitely done this kind of stuff before in his profession, I would think, being an assassin. So he's probably not very squeamish about this in the least. So as Yarim, he's going to stride over and kind of look at this this table of implements, and he's going to pick this. It looks like it probably started off as a sickle of some kind in its design, but has been has changed, evolved, and he picks that and brings it over, and then comes over and just kind of looks down at this poor individual, and then kind
roll me a luck die. Roll me a luck die.
Okay. Oh, that's a 1.
How do you recognize him? This important figure to you.
Oh, wait. My bond for my background is actually I am trying to pay off an old debt I owe to a generous benefactor.
So
I think this
man
is
your benefactor.
Is my benefactor.
What's his name? If you want me to make something up, I can. I've got a generator here.
Kareem.
Kareem? Okay. I'm going to roll insight for Kareem. Oh, he's out of it. He can't recognize you in the slightest. Yeah, he'd look up at you. You see his black hair part away from his face for a second. And these green, like, unmistakable eyes look at you. And you see past the bruises and the bloody facade and the tear-stained face that this is your benefactor.
Barsazar kind of falters for just a moment. But again, like, being a spy, this is the kind of thing that he's used to suppressing. So he does his best to kind of just like force it down to deal with the emotional ramifications later. And just puts his mind into the task at hand. And he's going to kind of look over at the at Skahaz and kind of wait for the question to come.
Skahaz leans in. Give us the name of your leaders. Who do you work for? Who is the Harpy? And Karim just kind of starts to cry, just weeping, and shakes his head. And he just slowly turns and looks at you and nods.
Artazar takes the man's beard kind of forcibly in his hand and pulls his chin up. And he goes to work with this sickle on the man's lips, removing them. But as he does so, he fumbles and actually gets the man's mouth open and actually cuts his tongue off on purpose, but trying to make it seem as an accident.
Okay, roll me deception or performance, whichever you prefer.
Would sleight of hand work?
Sleight of hand would work fine too. That's fine.
That's what I'm going to go for. Oh, that's a 10.
Okay. What's your dexterity?
A 16.
That's +3. He got a 10 too, and he has +3 on insight.
Luck die it out.
Roll me a luck die.
Five?
Well, that's more on the lucky side than the unlucky side.
Good.
So, instead of him ripping your mask off in suspicion, his fist connects with the side of your face. You fool! He can't tell us anything now.
Yarim kind of takes the punch, falls to the ground, and kind of starts to get himself back up. And he wants to kind of stagger, showing kind of his drunkenness a little.
Roll me performance at advantage.
As he's doing this, as he's getting up, he's actually going to stick his finger kind of nonchalantly down his back into the back of his throat or the back of his mouth and try to make himself throw up.
Okay. Yeah, roll me performance at advantage.
Oh, thank God. 11 plus my charisma, 13.
Okay. Yeah, you managed to do this without him noticing. He got a nat 1. So he's just like standing over you, and you actually throw up on his shoes. His knee connects with the bottom of your chin, throwing you backwards against the wall. He hits you hard. You're going to take 4 points of damage from this knee to the chin. And he kind of grabs you by the collars of your leather armor and lifts you up to his face. Yaram, I'm this close to killing you right now. And he puts his face right next to yours.
I'm so sorry. My behavior is inexcusable.
What has gotten into you?
I knew the man that I had to reprimand today. He was a dear friend of mine.
Sympathy slowly spreads across his face. Yaram, I am this close to taking your mask from you right now and kicking you out of the Brazen Beasts.
Sir, I beg you, please. I fought for the freedom of this city. I still fight for it now.
Persuasion at advantage.
Okay. So 17 plus persuasion, 19.
Okay. I won't take your mask because of Mara. I know that she and your children need this money.
It's true. Yes.
One more infraction, Yarm. One more, and you're out.
Not at once, sir. I'll go to bed now.
Get
I'll
out
see
of
you
here.
soon.
I don't want to see you. Go.
And he turns and hastily leaves the room.
He'd grab you, Salas, as you turn to leave. I don't know what's wrong with your squad mate, but take care of him. Figure out what is going on. If he needs to, give him the next day off. I'll assign a substitute to take his place. But there cannot be failures like this anymore. If we are to keep this city from the Harpies, we cannot slip up like this. Do I make myself clear?
Absolutely clear, sir.
With more feeling, do I make myself clear?
Absolutely, sir.
Good. Get out of here. Take care of him. Get him to bed. Maybe he just needs to sleep it off, whatever this is. Dismissed.
Keswick.
I'm sorry, sir, but in like notioning to one of like the implements of torture, do you mind?
And he kind of smiles. Not at all. We can't do anything with him now.
And I think I would probably take like a lash or a whip of some kind and just lay into this dude relentlessly. Way more zeal than I probably should have. My companions may be afraid of me, but like I got a history, I got stress, I got things I need to deal with, and I'm gonna take my opportunity to get some of those things out. So like with like a crack of my knuckles and like, you know, loosening up, I just lash this dude to pieces.
And Skaz would watch you do this and then look over at you. Oh my gosh, I forgot your name.
I am Jeshua playing Kosik.
Okay. So we've got Keswick. Okay, Salas. He looks over at you, Salas, and he says, I've never seen Keswick torture with such zeal before, but he's making up for Yaram. That's good.
And like after breaking a sweat, I would, you know, put it down. Thank you, sir.
Very good, very good. Get back up there, take care of Yaram. I don't know what his issue is.
Yes.
And see that this doesn't happen again.
We will get to the truth of it and see him restored.
If I have to remove one of my most obedient soldiers from my ranks, Salas, I'll put this on you.
Understood, sir. As you should.
Go. And he turns back to the other two that are still being worked over as you make your way up the stairs. Okay, you guys are home free.
Oh my gosh.
It's the second time I've got to torture someone in 2 days.
Yeah, there you go. And how you're reveling in it.
That was intense.
It takes off quick. Yeah, that was a good job.
All right. So now maybe we can go to Dothraki. Maybe.
Yeah, so Tyler, do we know if because obviously we're trying to sort of get upstairs. Sorry, alarm. We're trying to get upstairs. Was
that downfall of us all?
Yeah, dude.
I think, man, good job.
Let's go. Are the brazen beasts sleeping quarters like basically? How are we going to be able to get upstairs? Is what we're trying to figure out, really, isn't it?
Quarters are on this floor. You know that there's kind of like a lounge on the floor, like just beneath the hearing chamber, where Khal Ishak would be like listening to petitions. And then beyond that, like just like up the stairs and like beyond the wall, directly behind it, the petition chamber, the throne room, essentially, is where his sleeping quarters are. You know that you might be able to scale the side of the pyramid if you go outside on one of the hanging gardens and climb up. Though that would be a very difficult climb. It's pretty smooth.
Yeah, I think that might be a bit too difficult. I'm sure we've got a bit of rope, but So, all right. Other than that, so maybe we'll try and make our way to this lounge, which is beneath the petition chamber, and maybe see what we can find and figure out from there.
Yeah, you make your way up there like easy as pie. Like nobody questions you. You're brazen beasts after all. Nobody wonders why you're here. The lounge is for everybody who lives in the temple, essentially, and inside the Great Pyramid. So you guys can make your way up there very, very easily. You would see that there are a bunch of like not servants, not slaves, but like workers for the Great Pyramid who kind of like bring like food and drink and like treats like to this area for anyone who wants to. You see there are a few last-minute petitioners kind of waiting quietly. As you get there, one of them stands up as he's called and makes his way up to the throne room. It's a very, very chill location, basically.
Okay. Yeah, they'd try and Salis would try and make himself at home, I suppose, entering the lounge and maybe having a sort of survey, finding the entrances and exits, and sort of seeing who's in the room, armed and not, and maybe then finding a table with a hookah thing on it to have a bit of a smoke, maybe.
And you guys are just going to wait out the rest of the petitioners until night, like it's over, basically? Is that what the plan is?
I think, try and find a quiet table or a corner table if we could, so we could try and talk further and flesh out the finer details of what we're going to do.
Okay.
I suppose maybe, discuss whether we want to try and climb or if we need to try and pose as a petitioner or something.
So there are tables out on the balcony, kind of overlooking the city that you could like go and sit at as night falls.
Perfect.
There aren't very many people out there, so it's still a bit muggy.
So out on the balcony, does it look like there would be any sort of way to climb up if nobody was looking, or it's like you said, it's really smooth and downward sloping?
I mean, like as you see, it gets like tiered as you get towards the top in this picture.
Okay.
So like that very first tier is essentially where that first one is. If you can climb up to the next tier, which isn't nearly as far, that would be where the bedroom would be. And it's not like terribly, like it's not super smooth, like you'd slide off of it. It's more of like a gritty, like a worn down concrete. Like, so you can get kind of a grip on it, but it's not like rock climbing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's like old limestone is a good way to compare it.
Yeah, okay, so sort of porous enough to get a bit of a foothold on that, yeah.
Yeah, but definitely not an easy climb. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Definitely not an easy climb.
Okay. I think maybe Salis, Baral as Salis would lean in, would sort of assessing this, lean into Yarin and say, "You made such a climb before? I think the bedchamber is above us there. Or do you have a better idea?"
No, it seems as if approaching from inside is not an option that we have, I think. But there have been times when I have made a climb like this. I think it is possible. We should probably wait until it is dark before we attempt it. From this height, and he kind of looks out over the city, we will be easily spotted from below.
Yes. Well, do we want to, and sort of looking at the sky and the sun's position and estimating the time, and thinking back to the information given to them by Tarkaz, I think it will be maybe a few more hours until he finishes petitioning and retires to his chamber. Do you think it best to be in there when he arrives, waiting, or arrive upon him, unsuspecting either way. Needs to be dark enough.
Yeah, I would certainly prefer to be in there before he arrives. It would limit the chances of us giving away our position by moving. But there is much to be said for the cover of darkness.
Yes.
What do you think?
Kessie gives you a nudge.
I guess I am not one usually for plans like this. I am never one to be the spy. I leave the decision to you. I think I can make it up there either way.
So are you planning to wait until darkness, or you're going to make the climb now? If you make the climb now, you'll beat him to his chamber. If you wait until darkness, it'll be close.
So with the picture you have kind of showing, it looks like there is a side that faces the sun and then a side that faces away.
Yeah.
Is there a balcony on the side that faces away from the sun that's in the shadows?
There is, my friend, there is.
Then Barsazar kind of is looking up at the side of the pyramid, and he kind of looks at his hand where it's kind of casting this shadow, and he kind of walks to the edge and kind of peers around, kind of out over the city where the shadow of this great pyramid is kind of cast out over Meereen. He says, "We should climb the balcony from the other side, I think."
Yes. The shadow is there already, huh? The sun sets a little earlier on that side, I think we can say.
That should put us into position much sooner. We should go.
Okay, so if you're going to that side, you only need to wait 1 hour for enough shadow to make the climb. In that hour, I'm going to roll one perception check to see if anybody sees you guys loitering about. Just a random one. No, sir. That is a 2 on the die. Nobody cares much to ask you what you're doing if they do notice you. They just kind of assume you're on like a guard duty or something. And you may begin the climb. So who is doing the climb? Because I assume you're just going to toss a rope down to the other two, right? Or are all three of you climbing at the same time to avoid being caught?
I would think we'd get Yarim or Barsazar to climb. He's probably got the most experience. And then throw a rope down for us to come straight behind him as best we can.
Okay, so I'm going to need a athletics or acrobatics check from you, Yarim.
Okay. I will certainly be attempting acrobatics. Not bad. That's a 17 total.
So you'll make it up the side easy. I'm going to have perception checks rolled from people on the ground at disadvantage since you decide to climb on the shadow side. Okay, first one is a no-go. It's a nat 1. Actually, you see a big, on this side of the pyramid, you see, from as you climb up to the top, a spice cart runs into another, like a merchant's tent. It causes this huge kerfuffle. Everybody's looking at that. Everybody's kind of just like looking at this like huge like fiasco that's going on right here. So nobody, the next person to climb isn't going to have to, there's not going to be a perception check rolled against them. Okay, so who's next to climb up? As the rope is lowered, you'll do so at advantage now. Acrobatics or athletics?
After you.
Springs straight into action. Let's see here. Oh, God. Okay. 5 for acrobatics.
Okay, well, you don't fall, but you don't make very much progress. Have you guys seen Up? The part where like Russell's climbing the hose above him, and then you zoom upward, and he's only like 1 foot up there. That's you.
Yeah. Just lingering in the cooler air after such a hot day.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to need you to roll me one more check now.
All right. Oh my god. 4.
Are you rolling an advantage too?
Oh, no, sorry. Okay, so first one was definitely a failure. That was going to be that low either way, so here's my 2 rolls for the next one. Okay, great. 19 acrobatics.
Okay, you make it up. You make it up. After you're hanging out for a second, you hear the angry, exasperated snort of Keswick beneath you, and you start climbing faster. Okay, you make it up. Well, you didn't make it up in your first attempt, so I'm going to have the perception check rolled again. Still terribly low. That's a 3 on the die. So they don't see you. Keswick, your turn. Acrobatics or athletics at advantage?
It's going to be acrobatics. We're looking at a 17 modified.
Okay, you make it up just fine. And I rolled terribly again on the perception check with the 2 on the die. I don't get it. Okay, you guys make it up to the next tier. You can see the city just like spread out like a canvas before you. Beautiful. You've never seen it from this height, actually. And as you're looking out over the city, it's you know why now Meereen is considered a paradise. And I'm guessing you go into the Call's chambers and wait for him, right?
Yeah, we're gonna pick the rope up.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and then Yarim is gonna very, very quickly start looking for places for the 3 of them to hide.
Yeah. So as you step into the chamber, it's kind of this large rectangular room. You see that there's a doorway directly across from the balcony you came in on. And you know that leads into the audience hall, where right now Khal Ishak is having his meeting. He's taking petitions. You see from the balcony, that's directly across from the balcony you came in on. You know, on the opposite 2 balconies are stairs leading up to where the Harpy used to be. The room is, like I said, is kind of square in shape. In the very center is kind of like a raised platform upon which rests a bed. Drapes, thick silk drapes surrounding it. Up against one wall is a large wardrobe. You see that there are myriad tables and cushions to sit upon. You see that there are drapes that can be pulled across the balcony entrances. You see that there is kind of like a large divan, like a huge lush sofa kind of thing sitting in the corner. Yeah, I mean, what else would we be looking for to hide in?
Not necessarily anything else to be able to hide in, but would there happen to be any kind of decanter for drinking? Any kind of prepared serving vessel?
Smart. There's a wine jug sitting on the table. You see that there are a couple of goblets sitting around it that have leftover wine sitting in them.
He is going to take that hallucinogen that he got earlier, and he is going to drop some of it into this wine vessel.
Okay. Yeah, you can just You can take this wet salt essentially and just pour it in it. It dissolves immediately. You see.
We should hide.
Bath salts, baby.
It's gonna make you eat your face. He starts kind of trying to show the other 2 where some of the good places to hide might be.
And the room does have doors, so there are doors that are open, so they're out like this on either side of the doorway too. That's another option that you have. So go ahead and roll me everybody's stealth checks then, and tell me which spot you choose to hide in.
We got a 19 on the die for a total of 23.
Dang, that's so good.
I could have only done one better, but I'm behind one of the silk curtains by the terraces that are going out.
Oh, I forgot to mention, by the way, at the break, on a side note, I wanted to give everyone a point of inspiration for just doing so awesome this session.
I'll take it.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm the the classic hide and seek trope. I'm hiding behind the curtain.
Yeah, okay. Your little boots sticking out from beneath it. Not with the 23, actually. Not with the 23.
I am very grateful for that point of inspiration. I went ahead and spent it because true to form, as I placed in the chat, I'm a horrible spy. I rolled a 1 on my stealth check. So now with the point of inspiration, that'll be a 24.
Okay, very good. And what'd you get, Keel?
13, and I'm thinking of hiding beside, if there's a good spot, I think you said, beside the doorway where he'll enter, because I've got a bag of offcuts, like a bag of caltrops, basically. It's like offcuts from curtain rods or something like that, that he's going to try and place down to set the situation once the Culls, once he's aware of their presence.
Okay, perfect.
I forgot to tell you where I was going to be hiding. Does it look like, where does it look like he's been sleeping? Is there like an actual bed?
Yeah, there's like a big bed on this raised platform in the center of the room.
Is there space beneath it?
It's like a futon, like it just rests on the floor, essentially.
Okay. Then yeah, he will probably find, he'll probably actually just stack up on the other side of the door from where, not Keswick, Solace is.
Okay. So you guys wait. Go ahead.
Sorry, just one more little piece of the Home Alone little setup that we're doing here. Varel also has a vial of perfume, and so he would find some pillows from other pieces of furniture, not from the bed, and place them on the bed so that it kind of looks like there's a person in there, and sort of dab them with this perfume so that the Carl hopefully thinks that maybe there's a gift there for him. And he thinks about writing a little note as well, but then realize, to direct him there, but realizes Dothraki don't read. So.
Okay. All right. Okay, you guys get this little Home Alone setup going on. Everything is in place. You wait the last hour of the petitions. And I'm going to roll a luck die as he comes in the room to see if he shuts the doors behind him. Oh, he got a 1. Okay, he doesn't. He just walks in, brazenly leaving the doors open. He doesn't care who comes in. You hear him speaking with somebody in thick Dothraki, this really, really heavy language that probably none of you speak. And you hear a giggle as he's brought a girl with him, essentially. And he kind of comes in. They're talking. You see them walk past the door. You see them walk into the room. He kind of looks at the bed, and he's like, what? And he kind of like walks over to it and like looks at this like girl standing next to him and like leans down and pulls the sheets back, and there's this pillow sitting there, and they both start laughing. Like, what in the world? Like, okay, whatever. They walk over to the table, and you see them. He pours her a cup of wine, and he pours himself one. They both like clink glasses and take like a long, long drink, and they're both laughing and smiling. How long are you guys waiting? Because eventually he's going to turn around and see you guys by the door.
Oh, I thought we were behind it.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so like directly behind the door. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So how long are you planning on waiting?
As long as it takes.
Do we have any knowledge of this hallucinogen? Like, do we know how long before it takes effect?
I'm certain that you as a fighter in the pits have taken it. So it takes about like 30 minutes to kick in.
Well, it depends. Are they going like right to the bed?
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe the increased heart rate will kick this into gear faster. I mean, they are obviously preoccupied.
Let's roll a luck die to see if it kicks in faster because of a heart rate. I rolled a freaking 1 again. Yeah, it does.
This dude's high as shit.
Yeah. When things start to kick in and he starts to like, you've experienced this. What is it like? What does this hallucinogen do to you?
Well, this is actually something they give you afterward. This is not something they ever give you before the fight, because it's supposed to be like a relaxant, like a calming, like something that allows you to keep doing this over long periods of time. So they give you this to like ease you out and kind of give you like a nice euphoric trip, if you will.
Yeah. And him, it hits super hard. Like you see him like start to like he like starts sitting up, like what the, and he starts looking around, and he's like looking at his hands, and like looking up at like the drapes around him, and like reaching out and like feeling them, and then things start to get really trippy because you know like once you like 30 minutes into the like once you're a little bit into the trip, like it starts getting like psychedelic. So he's like looking over. I can see my own well. I can hear colors. And he's like looking around, just like his eyes just wide. You see his pupils are like as big as plates in his eyes, like he's just tripping. And then he starts to shout, like yelling.
I think that would be the time when I would.
Oh yeah.
Probably make a
Spring
move.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, roll initiative. I'm giving you disadvantage.
Hoo-wee.
I can see through time.
I am the lizard queen.
I am literally time.
I am time. Okay, so we've got wow, you guys did not roll well on initiative. I think you actually rolled really well at disadvantage. Okay, so we've got Yeshua, 15. Ishak. Got Baru, 11. So we've got with a 9. Okay. All right, Yeshua, you're first.
Is he armed? Does he still have his weapon, or did he put it down when he got into bed?
He put it down. You see it sitting on the table directly behind him.
So I am actually going to I'm gonna run in to grab that.
Yeah, you can run 30 feet and grab that easy.
What kind of? You said it's like a curved sword.
Yeah, it's like a big curved sword.
Equivalent of like long sword or rapier or scimitar.
Yeah, like a long sword.
Okay. I'm gonna take that, and like I almost picture him like reaching for it as well, but like maybe the curtains kind of like stifle his movements, and see his like arm reach into that. I'm gonna try and hack into him with his own weapon.
Okay.
14, but I don't have nearly a high buff with his strength weapon. Total of 16, or rather 18.
Oh yeah, 18 will hit.
Longsword's D8, right?
Yeah, it's a D8.
So yeah, he like reaches his arm out into the curtains and kind of like withdraw the sword and bring it down in a slash for 6 points of damage.
Yeah, he grunts in pain as you cut him across the chest. He's just like you cut his arm all the way down. You see blood start to drip onto the mattress. This girl like screams. He starts to back away from you, and you see his teeth sneer in anger. And it's gonna be his turn. He dodges backwards, reaching underneath the mattress, and you see him pull free like a really like 2 big knives basically. And he kind of spins them expertly in his hands, not like but he's still like woozy. He's like staggering, and he's gonna rush towards you, Yeshua, and attack you 3 times.
I would like to parry the first one, or whatever one hits first.
Okay, that's a 21 disadvantage on his attack for no else because he's hallucinating. So
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
I'm giving him disadvantage on his attacks because he's hallucinating.
I dig it.
Okay. Well, that's a 17 to hit. Does that hit you?
Absolutely.
Okay. The second attack is going to be a much lower. That's a 7 to hit. And then his third attack. Ooh, that's higher. That's 16. Does 16 hit you?
16 does hit.
Okay. So his first attack, you said you're going to parry the first one?
Correct.
Okay, that'll be 8 points.
I deject 4, so I take
Okay.
another 4.
And then the second one's going to be 9 points.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah, so he just rakes the front of your thigh with his first dagger, dropping you to a knee before his other dagger comes flying in, a fist clenched. You're barely able to get your throat out of the way, but it slices you all the way across your chest, just tearing open your clothing and splitting your flesh. He's going to back away, kind of like eyeing the three of you, like watching you all around him. The girls just keep screaming. You hear shouts coming from the throne room.
Would he have seen them? I don't know if I was.
He hasn't seen the other two yet. He's only seen you. Oh, that's right.
Okay.
So he's only looking at you. He goes back to them.
Sneak attack.
Okay. Varul.
Yeah. I think hearing the shouts from the hallway, he'd firstly try and slide over some furniture to brace the door shut, if that's possible.
So you're going to shut the door and then slide some furniture in front of it. Okay, give me an athletics check to move the furniture over.
Oh my god, I'm using my inspiration. That was a nat 1.
Okay.
12.
Okay, yeah, you can slide that divan sofa into the way and kind of brace it against the door.
Perfect. And then, I'll use my bonus action to use that Master of Tactics. Use the help action as a bonus action, basically, to give... Who's engaged with him at the moment? Sorry, that's Yeshua. Yeah. To give him advantage against him next turn.
On one attack, right? Oh, I think he only has one attack anyway.
Sorry, so I'm using I'm just using the help action. It's just that I'm using that as a bonus action. Yeah. So that's advantage on his next attack against him. Yeah.
Okay, Yeshua, your next attack has advantage against Kalishak. Okay, Balthazar.
So Belshazzar kind of pushes his door, his half of the door closed to try to help Viral just a bit. And then at the same time, he's also then going to undo a short bow that he carries with him, knock an arrow, and fire at the Khal from where he's at.
Okay.
Did he know that I was here or no?
No, you have advantage.
Sweet. Okay. Yes. Oh, yes. That's a 19 and a 20.
You nat 20?
Yeah.
Okay, so nat 20s on rogues hurt in my games. Okay, so go ahead and roll your damage, add your modifier, and include your sneak attack damage, and then double it.
Okay, so roll it all up.
Basically, roll all your dice, add your modifier, double.
Sweet. Okay. That's 8 plus 3 is 11, so 22 points of piercing damage.
Where do you hit him with this devastating arrow?
Through his right calf, pinning him to the bed.
I'm gonna roll a luck die to see if it actually makes it all the way through to the floor. Okay, it's an 8. That's good for him. So it's gonna go through his leg and hobble him. He's gonna lose 5 feet of movement because of this. But it doesn't pin him. But he screams out in pain. He's like, ah! And he turns around, and you can assume that he's cursing at you in Dothraki, though you don't know what he's saying.
If possible, with there being this much stuff in the room, I would like to use a cunning action to hide as a bonus action.
Yeah, that's fine. You could dodge into the drapes. His attention would return to Yeshua, who's menacing him with his own blade. So you could definitely dodge somewhere when he's not looking.
Absolutely. Would you like for me to attempt?
Yeah, go ahead and roll that.
Okay. That's a 13.
Okay. All right. Yeshua.
So Yeshua is bleeding. But I haven't been in a high stakes fight like this in some time. So hold on 1 second. I have to sneeze. When I get it, I have to sneeze. So I sneeze all over the cow.
Truly a riveting moment, actually, for us to all watch that. I loved that moment.
That'll be on the video, so you're welcome.
Yeah, guys, enjoy.
I think kind of looking at this sword and then looking at the call, I'm gonna just make a good old-fashioned attack roll with advantage.
Okay.
Nah, 12 plus 4, 16.
And that is going to miss.
So
Is he wearing armor currently?
Oh, he's out of his armor. Oh, where'd he go?
Uh-oh. He pressed the wrong button, I bet.
Oh no.
fucking
Hey, welcome back. Actually, he's not wearing his armor. That's right, because you caught him in the moment. So he only has an AC of 15 instead of his usual 17.
So I did hit.
Yeah, you do hit.
So his naked body is now lashed with a streak of red and crimson as he takes 7 damage.
Ow.
How's he looking? Is he still standing?
Oh yeah, he's still standing, but he's hurt. He's definitely hurt.
If that's the case, I'm gonna use my action surge.
Ooh, okay.
I'm gonna hit him again.
Okay.
This time, I think I'm gonna just use my sword.
Okay. And that won't be at advantage because only your first attack is.
Correct. Sitting a lot better with that one. 16 on the die for a total of 21.
That'll hit.
So this is obviously my element here. I've killed 2 Dothraki before, so we're looking at 7. I think I have a bonus of plus 5, 13 damage, 12 damage.
And he is going to parry. And he's going to lower. Oh my gosh, that is a good parry. He's going to lower that by 9. So how much damage did you do originally?
12 damage total, so he takes 3.
So he manages to like cross his 2 daggers, catching your blade between them, so it only nicks his shoulder instead of cutting deep into it. And he kind of growls in anger at you. Okay. He's going to reach out then and take his sword back from you. Give me a contested strength check. Okay,
19 modified.
Yeah, that's a nat 20. So he just rips it free from your hand as you swap hands.
Is he still high? Is he still just intoxicated, or is he just running shit now?
Fine. I'll go ahead and give him disadvantage on it. Whatever.
I'm close to dying here, so I gotta work for this.
I kid you not. I got another nat 20.
Yeah, he can have his sword back. I'll give it to him.
Can we show a luck die in it?
You see his eyes are like not lucid, like he's like trying to like figure out what's going on, and then he just like gets this like look on his face. He shoves his finger down his throat, throws up, and then his eyes are like awake now, and he grabs the sword, like puts a foot against your chest and kicks you away as he takes it from you, and he's going to attack you twice with it. Ooh. Oh wait. So I'll give him disadvantage on this round still. Okay, well, the first attack's gonna miss. Second attack is gonna hit. That's a 21 to hit. And he is going to use the weapon with 2 hands, so it's a D10 instead. And he is also going to use a trip attack. I'm gonna need you to make me a dex save. That 1. Okay, so his blade takes you in the leg. He's gonna do a total of 14 points of damage to you. Does that drop you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so his blade cleaves through your leg, just shearing it clean off at the knee. You just collapse, the pain overwhelming your mind as you fall to the ground. He kind of turns and looks back at the 2 of you, and he's going to second wind. And that's going to heal him for 6. As he eyes the 2 of you, blade in hand, kind of like standing like a predator, Okay, see you, man. Okay, and that'll be it for him. Viral, your turn.
So sorry, just so I got that last bit right. He turned back to sort of face both of us.
Yeah, he's looking at you as you like stand next to the couch, having shut it like up against the wall.
Okay. With this, Viral will draw his sword, and he's not too keen to go toe to toe with this guy. And he looks around. Is Balthazar hiding at the moment, or is he out in the open?
Yeah, and the call doesn't know where. He's looking around desperately trying to find him. Sorry, go ahead, Jeremy.
I was just going to say he's attempting to.
Yeah. Okay. So at this point, it's it's basically just him. So I think Viral would draw his short sword and not wanting to engage. Hopefully, there's at least a little bit of distance between him and the Carl, and he'll reach down to the pouch that he's got at his hip for easy access for those caltrops that he's brought along, those sort of offcuts from curtain rods that are sort of little pointed things, and we'll throw them down between him and the Carl, trying to keep some distance.
Okay. Anything else besides that?
And then he would use his bonus action to try and hide if he can. So if he's sort of on the other side of the caltrops, then he'll try and duck behind a curtain or something, and try and use
he's staring right at you.
Yeah. So I mean, even if he ducks behind there, I won't even bother to roll, but at least he's sort of
roll me a hide check at disadvantage.
Hide check, yeah.
Yeah.
15, sorry, no, disadvantage, 14.
That's still pretty dang good. Okay, cool. For the briefest moment, he looks down at his chest, just kind of like wiping at the blood before glancing back up, and then you're gone. And his eyes are like he's trying to figure out where the crap you went. He's like, okay, Balthazar.
So as he has looked back up, Balthazar's kind of been timing his next attack. And as the Kyle kind of looks up and that surprise kind of dawns on his face, that's when Balthazar strikes. He lets loose another arrow from a slightly different position where he shot last time. So that should still be advantage if I'm hidden?
Yeah, it's advantage. He couldn't find you on his last turn.
Okay, so an 18.
That hits. Yeah.
Yes, good deal. Okay. So because I had advantage, sneak attack applies. Ooh, that's good. Okay. That's 16 points of piercing damage.
Okay. He's like very bloodied now. You see him, his eyes are like drooping, blood's dripping out of multiple wounds. He's like and he looks at you as his arrow strikes him. And his eyes are locked on you. He's not changing his perspective.
Yeah, actually, knowing that that Viral practices a little bit of the same methodology as himself, he is actually not going to attempt to hide at all. He will stalk forward and actually move away from the last place that he saw Viral to try to divert this this target's attention.
Okay, for sure. Yeah, his eyes track you. Like he's not letting you out of his sight. And now that it's back to his turn, I'll roll a death save for Yeshua. Okay, that's a save. One success. Kal Ishak charges you. He's going to make 2 swings with his sword. Ooh, that's terrible. It's a 14. I guess that misses. Okay.
Barely.
Second one's an 18, which I'm guessing he's going to hit. Oh, AC 15. Okay. And he's going to action surge, another 14, which misses. And then his fourth attack is a 15, which hits. So 2 hits. He's going to use a pushing attack, so I'm going to need you to make a strength save. He tries to shove you.
I rolled a 20.
Okay, so you're going to succeed. You're not going to get pushed 10 feet away. And he does... Ooh, he rolled fairly... it's decent. It's about midway. He does 18 points of damage to you as he starts chopping you up. One of his swings just catches you across the midriff, ripping open your shirt, cutting your stomach. You feel something poking out between this cut that he's given you across your stomach, and you look down to your horror to see a bit of your intestine just poking through. His second cut is an overhand swipe that comes down. You barely get out of the way, and as you're rotating to the side to dodge, stumbling with this cut in your gut, he rotates and brings the pommel around, smacking you across the forehead. You're dizzy. You're stumbling around now, but you barely dodge his fourth attack as he's coming after you. And that is it for him. Viral. There's pounding at the door. You hear shouts of Dothraki as people are trying to get the door open. I'm going to have them make a check on his turn to see how well they do. Wow, okay, that's terrible. That's a 5 and a 5, so they don't get any progress.
Phew. Viral emerges from his hiding place, and while he was behind there, he had sheathed his sword and he's pulled out his wicked sharp dagger and races out and just steals himself and tries to just plunge the dagger into the Carl's back.
Okay, advantage.
18 to hit.
That'll hit for sure. And you had sneak attack because you have advantage.
Yes. Sorry, should have pre-rolled my damage. 17 damage.
17?
No, sorry. No. I did 3d6. Sorry. 9 damage.
Oh, that might be enough to kill him. 1 second. Okay, not quite. He's barely standing. You see him you plunge his dagger in his back, and he's like, oh, and you see him cough blood onto the floor, stumble towards you, Barsazar. You see his eyes drooping, blood leaking from multiple wounds all across his body. Your turn. Oh, unless you have anything else to do.
And sorry.
Viral.
Yeah, it would just be Viral's bonus action to give the help action to Barsazar. Yeah.
That's going to give him sneak attack, too, because he got advantage. Okay. Barsazar, your turn.
So knowing that we want him subdued and not killed just yet, kind of holding his stomach as best he can, trying to keep his innards where they belong, he's actually going to kind of reach over nearby and grab one of these curtains, one of these kind of maybe like a thinner one, and actually kind of twirl it around until it's kind of bound up more almost like a rope. And he's actually he's going to wrap this around the cow's neck and then just lean back.
Okay.
So where it's tethered at the roof or the ceiling, and he's just going to lean and put weight on this thing.
Give me a contested grapple. Give me a contested grapple. I'm going to have him roll a disadvantage, and I'm going to give you have advantage from the help action.
Okay, excellent. It's a 14, and if I'm initiating grapple, it's a strength, so a 14.
Okay. He got a 7 on the die, so he got a 13. So you win. His eyes start to bulge. His face turns as red as a Dothraki tanned face can, and he's just scrabbling at this rope around his neck, essentially, until we'll do one more contested. So give me one more disadvantage again from him.
That's a 19 this time.
Okay, and he rolled better on that one, so he got an 18. So you barely beat him both times. It's a battle. It's a battle between you two. His meaty hands, his arms just bulging with muscle, are just pulling. He's just struggling. You see his eyes as his eyes just widen and bloodshot. And then you're just leaning again. I almost imagine you put your foot against his chest to even pull.
Yeah, absolutely. Balthazar has his left foot on like just the toes of his boot, still in contact with the floor, and his other boot is right up against actually this guy's forearm, just pressing it, and he's just pulling as hard as he can. He's almost completely horizontal in the air, and he's just like gritting his teeth and pulling as hard as he can.
And Kal Ishak collapses, passes out. He can't breathe.
Immediately, he unwinds the cord from his neck and then just like tears it as hard as he can from the ceiling and starts using it to try to bind his wrists.
Man, dude, these guards suck. Like, they just got 2 more 5s. They can't break a freaking door down. Okay.
Yes,
you bind
they
his
match our
wrists.
spying abilities.
And I'm guessing you're taking him up to the top of the pyramid?
Yeah, let's go all out. Let's do it.
Yeah. Balthazar wants to take a moment to drink the potion of healing that he's carrying.
Okay, for sure.
Maybe while there's something that Viral is doing. It's a 2d4 plus 2.
Yeah. Yeah, Varel would be scrambling to try and see how they can get him up there. Maybe having a look in, because I don't think he's actually got any rope himself, so maybe having a look in Yeshua's belongings, or finding some more of that fabric to sort of tie together quickly and use as ropes or something like that.
Easy peasy. You can find rope.
If nothing else, to just get back down, because yeah. So, and then sort of dragging him over while Balthazar's taking his potion, trying to drag the Carl over towards the balcony.
And I imagine the potion isn't really a potion. It's just like a numbing agent. Like it makes you don't feel.
Yeah, I completely forgot that there's no magic.
No, it's fine. It could be something like equivalent. Like you get temporary hit points instead of real hit points.
Okay, yeah, I'm good with that. So still limping, and where he's kind of had to tear some of the bed sheet and kind of make this impromptu wrapping around his abdomen. He's kind of going to come over and help Viral kind of pick up this heavy Dothraki warrior, and they're going to do their best to try to haul his ass up to the top.
Yeah, between the two of you can carry us both pretty easily. And get him up there. You reach the top, and you can set him down to a kneeling position. And who's doing the deed?
Balthazar will look at Viral. Do you care to do the honors?
Would be an honor, as he raises the dagger already dripping with the Carl's blood. I will do the blood angel. You can claim his brain for Tarakaz. And he starts carving. Oh, braid. That makes more sense. I was like, this is full on. We need some kind of hammer or something here. Buzzsaw. That's easy to carry too.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he starts carving into his back, having to sort of use some force to break some ribs to get through to his lungs, and just this hot blood is just pouring from the Carl's back and all over Varal's hands. He thinks, passing thought, he'll have to wipe that for the way down. And as he pulls out each of the Carl's lungs and places them forward over on each of his shoulders, the ritual blood angel complete. And he takes a smear of his blooded hand and wipes it across the Carl's eyes and face, giving him the Harpy's mask of blood in this place atop the Great Pyramid of Meereen.
And you remove his braid, and you cut his throat to make sure that he dies. And as he kneels there, bloody harpy wings on his back and a mask upon his face, you hear the door beneath you finally shatter, and splinter and break open. You hear shouts of alarm. You hear the woman still screaming in hysterics down below. One fail for Yeshua, death save. A second fail. Okay, that's third is a success, so it comes down to this. And he fails. Yeshua passes away, his last breath escaping his lips as the blood pours from his leg. How are the two of you going to try and get out of here? You know the climbing is going to be very, very difficult for you, Balthazar.
Balthazar, you kind of see the braid that was cut and taken. There was another portion of this man's hair, a small portion that was taken, and you see Balthazar wrapping it up with this stark white braid of hair that he still carries, and tucks them both back into his clothing, taking a trophy as well. And he kind of looks to Viral. I don't know if I'm going to make it, but I sure as hell am going to try. I think we go down the side and try to control our descent as much as we can. It's going to be fast, and it's going to be very dangerous. But
and very painful. Slap on the shoulder.
Yes, but one of us needs to make it back to let them know that it has been done.
And he sort of looks down, assesses your wounds and the state that you're in, and looks to the pair of braids in your hand, clenched in your hand, both stained with a bit of blood themselves. And he holds out his hand to you, just in case.
Make sure that the story lives on. And he'll kind of hand them over with a mild hesitation.
Okay, guys.
And he lets it linger a bit.
Take a point of inspiration.
No hesitation, he takes it. Thank you.
So both of you take a point of inspiration, and let's see if you can make it down the side of the Great Pyramid. I'm going to need 3 checks from both of you, either athletics or acrobatics on each one. To start the climb, the first ledge is just going to be DC 14. The second one is going to be DC 16, and the third is going to be DC 17. And for the first 2 checks, Jeremy, you're just going to be able to check like normal. The last one will be at disadvantage from the wound in your gut. Okay, so 3 checks, guys. Tell me what you get.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
Should I put it in the chat or just say it out here?
Just say it out loud.
First check is 7.
So you're
actually, I'll burn my inspiration.
Well, the first fall wouldn't be that bad. That's just to get down to the balcony.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah, you probably want to take the first fall.
Any damage yet. Yeah, yeah.
And it's an acrobatics for me of 13.
So both of you fail the first one. You are climbing over the edge, trying to scramble down this pyramid. You can't find a good handhold or foothold, so you just fall. Both of you are going to take 4 points of falling damage, of bludgeoning, as you fall and just slam into the ground. Several people scream and get up, and they start backing away from you two as you go down the next set. So go ahead and give me another acrobatics or athletics. DC 16 on this one.
DC 16. I rolled 16. Does that meet it, or do I need to use inspiration?
Rolling a 16 will make you meet it. Yeah.
Actually, yeah, cool. And either way, I'd probably save it for the last one.
Okay. So you make the next climb easily.
I'm going to roll inspiration on this one.
Okay.
That's a little better. That's an 18.
That'll be a pass. So neither of you fall on this second one down to the next tier. So you don't take any damage falling. Third one. And if you fail this one, it's an instant death.
Oh, God. Okay, using inspiration. Lucky. Although, no, actually, I failed. It was a 15. And it's a DC 17.
And did you get it at disadvantage, Jeremy?
Oh no, I didn't roll. Damn it. Okay. Let's see. Okay, that's only going to be a 14.
If you have a point of inspiration, you can cancel it out.
Nope, I just spent it on the second tier.
Oh,
You both fail.
2 splattered.
Tell me how your strength gives out, both of you.
Varel's rolls were all acrobatics. He's more sort of nimble than he is strong. So he was, I think, sort of going down feet first, facing, his face to the sky. So he's back against the pyramid and sort of trying to scramble down. But I think he just picked up too much speed. I think one of his feet slipped on a particularly smooth section, and it just sort of toppled him, and he started sort of rolling sideways. And he was probably dead before he hit the bottom from just all of the constant smashes on the way down. Can't think of anything more poetic or cool, sorry.
Well, it's actually just a bunch of d6 of damage, so just tell me if the damage kills you outright, like does over your max when you go under. But go ahead, okay. Jeremy, how do you fall?
Balthazar has been trying to make this climb, and it's just been difficult. He's so injured, gravely injured, and the further he pushes himself, the worse it reopens this wound in his gut. And at some point, he actually stumbles just a little as he's kind of preparing to slide down this last bit. And there's something about the way that the blood kind of spatters from himself kind of on the stone that reminds him of the way the blood spattered out of his benefactor in the dungeon when Yeshua was flogging him. And it completely takes Balthazar out of the moment. It takes his focus and his attention away from what he's doing. And before he realizes his mistake, he's already leaned his center of gravity out way too far. And he just head dives down to the bottom.
So you're both going to take 10d6 damage for falling this max distance. And I rolled it just barely, and it's a 31. 31 points. Yeah, so 13 plus, so you had 13 temporary and 4 left, so 17. What's your max hit points, Jeremy?
I had 4 hit points left.
Total. Oh, okay. What's your max? What was your max?
24 is my max.
That would kill you outright. And what about you, Keel?
So I had 14 HP remaining, and the max was 18. So that's an instant death as well, I think.
You live by 1 hit point.
Yes, the songs of the eagle shall be sung.
Yeah. So the two of you hit the ground. Like you said, Jeremy, head first for you. Just out, done, gone. People start screaming as rolling down the side, and then take like a snowball and then hitting a rock basically and bouncing off and coming, boom, just right into the ground. Comes Varel. You're unconscious, Varel. I'm going to need 3 death saves from you.
You got it. 13.
Pass.
20, not 20. Not 20 does something special, doesn't it?
That gets you up with 1 hit point. You're alive.
Oh my god.
Explain to me how you come to, and how what you feel.
So I think he blacked out while he was rolling down. And so he awakens to the cool sort of Meereen night, with the stink of Dothraki returning immediately to his nostrils, and sort of groans and realizes again in an instant, it flashes back to him what he's just been doing and where he must be and how the hell is he alive. And he, I'm tempted, Jeremy. he sort of rolls over with a big groan and stands slowly to his feet, to one knee, and sort of looks in his hand, and he sees that he still was clasping the braid and the lock of silver or white hair, both covered in blood still from his hands. And he looks around to see his companion, to see if Balthazar made it as well, and he's on the ground right next to him with his neck just twisted in an ungodly angle. And he wonders if perhaps he landed on him or some other stroke of luck caused him to survive the fall. But not being able to spare any time, knowing that the guard, he doesn't know how long he's been out for, knowing that he'll be hunted, he staggers away, drags himself more or less, tries to find his bearings and make his way back towards the pyramid of Tarkaz.
You actually can't even stand. Your legs are both broken.
Yeah, makes
you have to like pull yourself on your hands, and you hear the heavy thump of footsteps. And out of a side alley, a big fat man comes walking. It's Tarkaz, and he looks down at you. Oh, you did it! Do you have the braid?
Oh, yeah, Tarkaz. He holds it out.
He would reach down and take it,
covered in blood.
it. Yeah, and he'd look down and take it and look like make sure that it's like really the real thing. And he'd look at the other package, the one with the hair from Daenerys in it. You did very well, my friend. Very well. And he'd turn around and start to walk away.
Tarkaz! My reward!
Ah, yes, I forgot. You're golden dragons. And he'd walk up to you, and he'd kneel down next to you. And he'd pull out a golden dagger and slit your throat.
You bastard.
And he'd look down at you as you're lying there on the ground, and he'd say, "It's nothing personal, my friend. It's just business." And he stands up, looks down at you, making sure he watches every moment, and then turns and walks away.
And Varal's last vision in this world is laying on his back beneath the Great Pyramid with Tarkaz standing over him, his own blood dripping onto his forehead, and the light of the full moon showing the Khal, his handiwork, his own handiwork atop the Great Pyramid. A life, the only life that he's taken, in such a way at least, as his own light fades.
Yep, Tarkaz would take both of your masks, your Brazen Beast mask, to make the legend live on as well. And that is where we'll end the session. Good session, guys. Good stuff.
Awesome.
Ooh, man. Brutal.
Oh, gosh.
I hate
Good session, guys. Great session. Lots of fun.
It was a ton of fun.
Awesome.
Oh, I forgot one thing. This is the last thing that is seen. Change that. The Harpy's mask lying on the ground as he walks away, taking the Brazen Beast mask with him. There we go.
Oh.
Good game, guys. Good game.
Well done.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for running it.
Guys.
That was great.
Yeah, for sure. Let's do outros. We'll start with Keel and then do Jeremy.
Yeah, awesome session. Oh, man. It's so tense. Just like the last one, pretty much on the edge of my seat the whole time. Yeah. Great game, great players, great DM, great world. Love playing in the Game of Thrones world. Hope to play in it some more. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, for sure, man. Thanks for playing. Always a pleasure to have you in the games, Keel. That's 2 for 2 that you've died in, dude. Game of Thrones is just not meant for survivors, I guess, man. That's 2 TPKs
Yeah.
in 2 games. All right.
It didn't have to be, man. I had 1 hit point.
I know, but dude, he's a slimy great master, man. He's not gonna want to pay you guys if you're broken like that.
No, that was perfect. Yeah.
All right, Jeremy.
Yes, sir. My name is Jeremy, everybody. I have the YouTube channel, The Erasmus Expeditions, where you can find live plays like this and crafting videos and talking about RPGs and stuff. I am also 1/3 of the podcast, The Dudes of Yore, with my friends Jeff Doty and Chad Nick, who can also be found on YouTube. Definitely go check us out. Man, I had an absolute blast tonight. This is only my second chance to play in the Game of Thrones in Westeros, but I absolutely love it. And though I have not played under you often, Tyler, I have had the chance before, and this was no exception to having stellar time every time that I've had the chance. This is my first time to play with Keel, not Kyle, but Keel, and it was absolutely lived up to the hype, brother. So thank you, both of you.
Guys, thanks for a great game. I freaking loved it. And as always, thanks for tuning into the game. If you liked it, feel free to like and subscribe. It always helps out. And as always, I hope you find yourselves in your games on a roll. Peace out, ladies and gents.